Go. That was up from a 2.9% increase in December. Last month, the cost of groceries, gas, used cars all rose.
Inflation's recent uptick is a major reason the Federal Reserve has paused its interest rate cuts after 3 of them last year. Yesterday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell testified before a Senate committee.
We do not need to be in a hurry to adjust our policy stance.
In January 2024, prices jumped sharply, largely because many companies raised prices at the beginning of the year. With inflation still elevated, consumers are more price sensitive than a year ago. George Williams reporting.
From the Russian Big House to America's White House, Pennsylvania teacher Mark Fogel released from a Russian prison. He's been welcomed home by President Trump at the White House. Moscow says a Russian citizen was freed in exchange for Fogel. President Trump says another American will be released today. Appearing together in the Oval Office, the president and Elon Musk defending their overhaul of the federal government.
The president said they've already discovered
billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse.
And Musk described the work as democracy in action.
The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for.
Both men alleged fraud and abuse inside the government without evidence, and the president urged courts not to block their work. Greg Clugston, Washington.
America could get a new national intelligence director today. A Senate confirmation vote is due on nominee Tulsi Gabbard. Wall Street futures are plunging following that hotter-than-expected inflation report for January. The Dow futures now down 409 points. NASDAQ futures off 223, and the S&P futures 59 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free, too, with their 3-week Quick Start Kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF, 800-4-RELIEF for Relief Factor.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
The UN's Human Rights Office claims some 1,400 people may have been killed in Bangladesh during student-led demonstrations last summer against the now-ousted former prime minister.
The report accuses Sheikh Hasina's government of a brutal response to the protests calculated to hang on to power in the face of mass opposition. The UN investigators documented the shooting at point-blank range of some protesters, the deliberate maiming of others, arbitrary arrests and torture. Children, too, were targeted. The report estimates up to 13% of the 1,400 people killed were children.
The BBC's Imogen Folks. Germany's outgoing government extending by 6 months the border checks it imposed on all of its frontiers last fall as it attempts to cut the number of migrants arriving in the country. It has become a big issue in the campaign for this month's national election. Breaking news analysis at townhall.com. After a series of setbacks and delays, Speaker Mike Johnson shopped around a new budget blueprint, conferring on a schedule with House Budget Committee Chair Representative Jody Arrington.
Johnson's latest plan includes a new floor for spending cuts between $1.25 trillion and $1.5 trillion. To offset part of the massive domestic policy package Republicans are now pursuing. He spoke with reporters Tuesday about possible movement on the bill.
A markup is going to be scheduled for Thursday. That's the intention. The budget chairman Arrington just spoke to conference and said that we'll be rolling out the details of that probably by tonight.
The level of cuts is just one of several moving pieces Johnson and other House leaders are still struggling with as they try to build unity for the sweeping border, energy, and tax package. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
Louisiana is hoping to resume carrying out death sentences in the coming months after a 15-year pause, this time using nitrogen gas as the execution method. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, Whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And a good morning, one and all. Welcome to a morning without Mike Winters. That's right, I ain't he. That wouldn't be me. Mixmaster Mike is on the open road, I believe, as we speak. He's finally heading to Lubbock. Now, this trip is a long time coming because, it's the second time that they had to postpone Mike's eye doctor's appointment to take care of a few extra things. In fact, they had to delay this thing for so long that this appointment was set up at his last appointment to actually get his prescription, which he's already gotten his glasses for and has had them for like a month. So this appointment is a long time coming, but finally out on the open road to get that appointment taken care of. So I'm in the captain's chair for today, at least. Sean Smalls inside your radios. Hopefully your Wednesday off to a great start. Happy hump day, happy halfway day, whatever you want to call it, just so long as you get up, you get at them, doggone it, you make it your day. Yesterday was kind of a mixed bag. It's been a very interesting week because basically this has been a week of choreography. It's our parent-teacher conference week with the schools, so we've been kind of having to set schedules for that, set appointments for that. Plus, my son had a doctor's appointment yesterday afternoon, and so I went to that, took him to that, and I got to tell you, this is a funny story. So my son, Hunter, he's 6 years old, and he's a tough dude. He's a tough kid. He was telling me for days now, he's like, I need to go to the doctor and get my 6-year checkup. I'm like, first of all, you shouldn't be telling me this. Your mom should, but that's beside the point. And then he starts talking about vaccines, and he starts talking about how I know they hurt, but I need them, so I'm excited for my vaccine. And he was telling me yesterday he was excited for his doctor's appointment. I said, well, you may have a shot, you may not. We'll see. It's just a 6-year checkup. And so we went, we sat there, and he answered all the questions. Kid loves to talk. I don't know where he gets that from. But answered all the questions, took the height, the weight, and all that fun stuff. And then came the shot, the vaccine portion. He didn't have any boosters, but they asked me if he wanted to get a flu shot and whatnot. I said, you know what? We didn't have any shots necessary, but he was telling me he was almost like wanting to get a shot. So I'm like, let's go ahead and give him the flu shot. And to his credit, I got to tell you, he was, happy-go-lucky the whole time. He looked me dead in the eye because the nurse told him to look at me, and then she was going to, administer the shot. He looked me dead in the eye, and I mean, did not flinch. His eyes didn't move. He didn't make a face. He just steeled his face, steeled his reserve, and took the shot honestly, took it like a man. I would be crying in his position, but he took it like a champ. And so I got to give him credit where credit is due. He definitely took that shot like a pro. Didn't wince afterwards. Put the Band-Aid on. And then, so Hunter, he's a relatively healthy kid. He doesn't really get sick very often. We were warned he might, have some flu-like symptoms and stuff. So sure enough, last night he starts, his mom's telling me he starts, he's up all night with a cough. He can't sleep. He's groggy. He's logy. So now the shot has really taken effect. And I'm hoping this won't traumatize him for shots in the future. But he's down for the count today. So be careful out there, by the way, folks. There's a lot of weird, nasty junk going around. So please keep yourself healthy. Lots and lots of vitamin C. And stay home if you're sick. Don't brave it. Don't force yourself to come in if you're sick. Because doggone it, we cannot afford to have the nonsense that is going around right now. Hopefully your Wednesday off to a great start. If I sound like I'm yelling, I'm going to take these off because something's wrong with our headphones apparently, and I can't even hear me inside those cans. So I'm going to take those off, and we're going to go au naturel. I understand why Mike does it like this now. I mean, I feel like I need to monitor myself, but what's going on with those? That's awful. Anyways, let's get to the rundown of today's show. We do have plenty to get to in today's show. Going to replay a couple interviews that Mike had this hour. Starting off here in just a few minutes, Mike had a sit down with Charlotte Gourlay and Toby Frett from the Chavez County Federated Republican Women. We'll replay that interview coming up here in just a few minutes. Then around 7:30 or so, we'll be replaying the interview that Mike had with Carrie Moore from the Chavez County Health Council. They had a great little conversation. We'll replay that coming up here in just a few minutes. Then in the 8 o'clock hour, around 8:15 or so, Brian Luck, the superintendent of schools for the Roswell Independent School District, he'll be joining us, and we'll be chit-chatting about the student council, or the school board meeting that happened yesterday, how everything went down, and all of that good stuff. Then in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll be chatting with the folks from the Roswell Refuge. They've got a raffle, a drawing for Valentine's Day, and we'll be doing that drawing coming up here in just a little bit. Plus, of course, your hourly features, which include Kim Commando update, Sean Hannity update, business report, and anything else that comes our way on this Wednesday morning. 12 minutes after 7 o'clock, I am going to go try to get the frog out of my throat. Let's get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Gusty wind today. We have cold front moving through the area. That'll keep us in the upper 50s to about 60 on the afternoon high. We will have sunshine with a few clouds, but the wind will be gusty up to 35 or 40 miles an hour. Overnight, the wind will calm down, clear skies, and upper 20s to low 30s, and then we're in the mid 50s for the afternoon high on Thursday. Should be sunny. Friday looks fair and warmer. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 38 degrees round Roswell Way. Humidity is at 89%. Winds out of the northeast at around 6 miles an hour. The barometer is at 29.71 with a dew point of 35 degrees. Mixed bag weather-wise for the next couple of days. Partly sunny skies, mix of clouds and suns with a high of around 60 degrees for the rest of your Wednesday. Winds out of the west at around 5 to 15 miles an hour. For tonight, partly cloudy, dropping down to 26 degrees for the overnight low. Winds out of the west 10 to 15 miles an hour, and that's they're going to become northwest after midnight. Partly sunny, back up to 51 for your Thursday, with light and variable winds coming out of the south 10 to 15 miles an hour in the morning. Thursday night, partly cloudy, dropping down to an overnight low of only 32 sultry degrees. For Friday, back up to almost spring-like conditions, partly sunny and 72 for your Friday. Sunny and 65 for Saturday, 54 and sunshine for your Sunday. Then as we head into your President's Day, mostly sunny, 71 degrees for the high for those of you who get to enjoy that day off. 14 minutes after 7 o'clock. And by the way, I did want to take an opportunity to let you know that Roswell Ford, after months and months of struggle with the floods, with all the nonsense that happened at their dealership, they are back home and better than ever at 821 North Main, and they're ready to serve you with the best in service. After the flood, they had to completely remodel their service and parts department from the ground up. They're excited to say it's finally ready. With brand new facilities, state-of-the-art equipment, and an upgraded customer experience, they're here to serve you better than ever before. Whether you need routine maintenance, repairs, or genuine Ford parts, Roswell Ford's expert team, they're ready to get you back on the road. Call today to schedule your service, 575-623-3673, or stop by the all-new Roswell Ford at 821 North Main. 14 minutes after 7 o'clock, going to pause, pay a couple of these bills. After that, Mike's interview with the Chavez County Federated Republican Women on the other side of these on a morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Stock up your freezer with premium New Mexico grown beef cuts delivered straight to your door from Runyon Cattle Meats. Runyon Cattle Meats offers premium grass-fed, grain-finished beef in whole, halves, and quarters, along with special seasonings that perfectly complement the meat. Find mouth-watering recipes, cut lists, gift baskets, and more at RunyonCattleMeats.com. Order today by calling Runyon Cattle Meats at 575-760-5655 or online, RunyonCattleMeats.com.
Tired of living with chronic pain? Soft Wave Therapy from Premier Chiropractic in Roswell is here to help.
I couldn't believe it. My knee pain is practically gone after just a few sessions.
Soft Wave Therapy for Premier Chiropractic uses cutting-edge sound wave technology to target inflammation and stimulate your body's natural healing process. No surgery, no downtime, just real relief.
Now I can finally enjoy life again with no shoulder pain.
Don't let pain hold you back. Discover the power of Soft Wave Therapy today from Premier Chiropractic in Roswell. Call now for your free consultation at 623-2900 or visit healthyroswell.com. Soft Wave Therapy from Premier Chiropractic, 1301 North Richardson in Roswell. Restoring life.
So you've got questions about the birds and the bees? What would Jim Gill do?
Hi, this is Ben Manette with Roswell Seed Company. If Jim was here, he'd tell you that it's time to order your bees. You'll get a 3-pound box of live bees and a queen, and that's enough to start a hive. As for the birds, we're talking about baby chicks. Not only are they cute as can be, they'll soon be supplying your family with fresh eggs. So come see us at Roswell Seed and find out all about the birds and the bees.
You are 13.8% more likely to die on your birthday. Think about that the next time you want to celebrate your birthday month. Here's Mike Winters.
And welcome back to the morning show. And joining us in studio this morning from the Chavez County Federated Republican Women, Charlotte Garule and Toby Fratt back with us. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Welcome back. Month number 2 in the new term for you for the new leadership of the Chavez County
Yes.
Federated Republican Women.
Sir.
How's you feel a little more? I mean, you guys have been involved and everything, but I mean, just not like you didn't have the title before. You know what I mean? And so is it? How's life as kind of the leadership now? Has it been pretty smooth? Has it been pretty crazy, or a little combo of something in between?
Lots of learning,
Yeah.
but I think it's been going well.
Yeah.
With
very busy.
The new,
I imagine there's
very busy.
because your day job was pretty detail oriented.
Yes.
And I've got to imagine this is a little less of that. A little.
Right. Well.
A little bit, not
yes.
a lot, but a little.
It's been going well. Yeah, we're learning a lot, and we have some events this month. Actually, we have the New Mexico Winter meeting, which will be inclusive of all 17 clubs. So we're looking forward to doing that.
Sure. Well, I imagine this is a bit because of legislative session. This is just a busy time of the year for the state of New Mexico, and by default, that's a busy time for the Republican and Democrat parties, for that matter, too. So it's kind of, and for folks that are not familiar, if you've never caught this interview, the Chavez County Federated Republican Women, they're an organization of volunteers and everything, and and the title is kind of the main purpose. Yes, they support the Republican Party for New Mexico and help to foster and support candidates from the Republican Party. And of course, that's kind of the day job part thing of it. But really, there is a whole service side of it, whereas the organization also works with other community organizations to help with their work a lot with youth. You have your own scholarship programs for students to go to college and things like that. So as much as it's involved in the politics of New Mexico, it's also in that service side where when we're not studying issues and finding the right people for these things, we're trying to provide a foundation for good youth for good futures for our youth too. So that's what the Federated Republican Women do. And the good news is you can come hang out with them every month. They have a monthly meeting that the public loves to come. There's always food because that's what we do. And then there's usually very important guest speakers. There's some very timely information. Obviously, during election cycles, it's usually various candidates. I'm going to take a guess as we're probably turning more to legislative type stuff right now with with what's going on in Santa Fe.
Well, actually, for our February meeting, that's going to be on Wednesday, February 19th. We hold it at the Elks.
Yeah, we should have you guys in like a week prior to
Yes.
your normal meeting. So it's always that third Wednesday of the month.
Third Wednesday of the month.
Meeting at the
Elks Lodge.
Elks Lodge. That's your new home.
1720, right, 1720
until
North Montana.
Convention center is back to being a convention center.
Yeah, actually, I like it. It's a lot roomier. I
Might
think.
make it a new permit, maybe. You never know.
Possibly.
Might,
we'll see.
For this year.
Yes, for this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I know, like we had your veterans, December veterans last year. Technically that was last year.
Right.
And that was at the Catholic Church there, and that was an amazing host too. They did a great job,
yes.
and their food was amazing here. But the Elks Lodge have kind of taken over the duties of that since the floods.
Convention Center, absolutely.
But
so that's going to be on Wednesday, February 19th. We have 2 speakers scheduled. That's going to be the Chief of Police, Lance Bateman. He's going to be talking about crime in Roswell. And then we also have the new director for the Roswell Air Center, Bobby Thompson. She's going to be coming in and just kind of giving an update on the preparations for the air races.
Sure, there's a lot. It's a busy year. And believe it or not, folks,
People are excited.
In May is when this all kicks off, because I know September is the actual air race, but in May, every single pilot that flies in the air races has to get qualified in their license and certification. So in May, it's going to be pretty busy in Roswell, New Mexico. We're going to have an influx of visitors. So we're kind of getting a dress rehearsal here in May.
Yes.
A little bit.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. It sounds like a great
I think
event.
she's going to give us a lot of good information.
Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity, especially for businesses and things and nonprofits in this community. You know, it might behoove you to come to this meeting. Come for the food, but stay for the information. Right. And that's the great thing about it. And obviously, anytime we get a chance to talk to police chief and things, crime is always a hot button issue in Roswell, New Mexico, and kind of seeing what these folks are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and kind of getting a chance and perspective to see what some of the stuff's going on is. It's always great to hear from the chief on that.
Absolutely. Right. We have a Facebook page. You can find information on the luncheon.
And the food's always good.
Absolutely.
I know I always like to know what's on the menu.
Yes, on the menu is going to be chicken fried steak, baked potato, vegetable, salad, tea and water, and a dessert.
That's about as American as you can get. Chicken fried
That's right.
$17, what a deal.
In this day and age, you're absolutely right. You can go to McDonald's and get like a Happy Meal and drop $17. That's the world we live in. Now you get a chicken fried steak dinner and the potatoes, the gravy, the trimmings, the whole nine there.
And learn all
by
what's
the
going
way,
on.
Get to meet the police chief and learn that. And then, of course, I'm telling you, this Reno, everybody in the community of Roswell need to get on board with what's going on with this Reno air races, because this is, I'm telling you right now, this is Balloon Fiesta UFO Festival ×2. This is, folks, I'm telling you, this could be the South's version of the International Balloon Fiesta. It draws those kinds of numbers. This thing's on like ESPN. If y'all heard of the Flight Simulator games, one of those computer games, it's one of the longest running. They have a whole thing about these now Roswell air races and this kind of stuff. This has got a bigger footprint than people think. This is going to draw some people.
It is.
Exciting. It's going to be a big deal.
It's really interesting to see how all of the logistics play out.
But this also speaks to the other thing. We're going to have the right leaders as we get this growth and navigate this kind of stuff. So it might behoove you to come to these meetings to pay attention to see, and because like you said, we talk as much as we're talking about Democrats and Republicans and county commission level and state level and higher up. A lot of the stuff, city level stuff too. And like you said, we're having the police chief, and of course that's all nonpartisan, at the city level. But it's all the values, and so if you really want to know what's going on in your city, might want to RSVP, have you some chicken fried steak, and come on out.
Get our community involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
We encourage everyone to come in and join us.
And you're in and out by it starts about 11:30. You're done by about 1-ish. And so you're in and out back your afternoon there.
Absolutely.
To have
Come
everyone
spend your lunch hour with us.
And please do us a favor, RSVP. That way we know how many steaks to cook and
Thank
everything.
You so much for that.
Please
Yes.
RSVP. Please give the head count so the chefs know. I'm sure the folks at the Elks Lodge are pulling their hair when you're like, you know what, we got 10 more steaks we didn't count for, and that kind of thing. So please, if you can now. And by the You don't have to eat. If you're like, well, I'm a vegetarian, fine. You don't have to have lunch. Please come for the meeting and stay. Right. I ain't going to lie. You might get a little hungry when everyone's eating and you're just sitting there with your tea. But it smells good.
And if you don't know how to contact us, just go to our Facebook page.
That's probably the easiest way. Chaves County Federated Republican Women. You type that in on Facebook. It'll come right up. You can follow the page there. I highly recommend you do, because that way you can stay up to date on various speakers and various information and a lot of the events. And of course, if you want to volunteer, this is the chance. Like, I know we're kind of not in an election cycle right now. We just had all that, but if you, especially in local levels, as we're grooming for state and our next representatives, that cycle will happen here, and those campaigns start now.
Right.
And if you're wanting to learn more about certain candidates and things like that, the Chaves County Federated Republican Women can help you make those introductions
Always
and make
have
you
those
those
people
things.
at our meetings.
Yes.
And that's another thing too, is you're going to get, now this meeting might be a little light because most people are going to be in Santa Fe, but generally speaking, you usually have a lot of legislators and a lot of representatives meeting. Now we warn you, because this is during legislative session. Most of those folks are committed in Santa Fe right now. So,
and in March we will be inviting our legislators just to recap.
Yeah, that'll be
session and give us an update on
pull back
everything
the curtain
that
and see what got done and what didn't get done and what's going to happen next. So,
yeah, but we encourage everyone to come join us,
Yes.
and you'll enjoy a great meal, listen to some great speakers, and just be informed. That's part of our.
And I was looking for new members, and
yes.
Obviously women are the main members, but men are also part of the Chaves County Federated Republican Women in a auxiliary like role here.
Correct.
And so this is a family thing too. I'm sure you have a lot of where the wife is in and the husband's apparently maybe they got the kids there also
associate
serving
members.
as well, associate members.
We encourage associate members.
This is a family thing too. So if you want to get the whole family involved, by all means, love to have you. Start by coming out next Wednesday to our meeting here to the Elks Lodge about 11:30. Go to Facebook and RSVP here this week, and then just show up next Wednesday and be ready to eat and enjoy some great information and make some friends and meet some new people too. I also, we talk about information on it. This is a social thing too. If you're looking to make friends and meet some new people that kind of share some of the same values you do, I invite you to come on out and have lunch with us.
We have lots of committees.
Right. We have lots of committees.
Yeah.
Get involved with the committees. We have we actually distributed dictionaries to Dexter, Hagerman, and Lake Arthur this past 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's a whole service side.
Yes,
like if you're like, I hate politics, but you love serving and helping people, there's a whole, you could really do all that, not talk about a candidate or anything else if you're just wanting, that there is that role in the Federated Republican Women.
Absolutely.
So.
We will be delivering Valentine bags to the Assurance Home. We do that.
Support
annually,
the troops, you guys, like during the holidays, you send out
yes.
messages and,
We send out
collect
cards,
messages and
there's
give packages type things for troops and all that.
There's a lot of activities, that people can come and, get involved.
Yeah.
We encourage
That's
that.
A lot of time or a little time.
It's
whatever they
Americana
want to.
at its best. If you love America and love all the things and want to preserve Americana and everything else, being a part of the Federated Republican Women is kind of jives with that and everything about it.
Absolutely. We welcome everyone.
So come on out again next Wednesday at the Elks Lodge here. 11:30 is when lunch and everything will get underway. RSVP through the Chaves County Federated Republican Women's Facebook page, or if you happen to know one of the Federated Republican Women, call them up and RSVP and reach out. And then and I will tell you, if you space and it's Wednesday at 11:30, like, oh man, I forgot to RSVP. Maybe you don't get a lunch, but please come anyway. Come on down, and we'll make you a seat and hear. You can hear maybe you can find a friend and sneak a piece of their steak. But you know what I mean? Ooh, look at that. But you know what I mean?
Have a glass of tea.
Come involved, get informed, be educated, know what's going on in your communities, and what the big changes that are coming. This meeting sounds like it's going to be it's between the police chief and with the Reno Air Race stuff. There's a lot of useful information that you're going to need for the foreseeable future from this meeting.
Right. Absolutely. Very informative. So looking forward to seeing everyone.
Do we get it all? Did we get everything? Is there anything we forgot to cover?
Valentine's, I think.
And if you do miss this meeting, don't fret. They do this every single month, so no problem. Now, the information. Now, here's another thing, too. It's not, generally speaking, I know they'll usually put a camera in there, and so sometimes you can, like if you can miss out, but you really want to hear what they say, check back with the Federated Republican Women Facebook page, usually later that afternoon. Now you're going to get way better because it's usually with someone's cell phone, so it's not like it's not Fox or CNN rolling in with their whole.
We're not too high tech.
Yeah. But if you miss it, but you want the information, that's a way you can get it afterwards. But if you've got the time and you've got the availability, please come to the meeting, come enjoy the steak, hear it firsthand, meet with people, and that's the other thing too is you get to talk with these guest speakers afterwards. Like if you want to pick the chief's brain a little bit, usually he's hanging out before and after, and you can walk up, shake his hand, and have a conversation with him. And that a lot of that kind of stuff happens at these meetings. And same thing with when we talk about the Reno Air Races stuff with those representatives here. If you want to kind of make your introductions with some of those folks, that might be your opportunity to get your foot in the door here next Wednesday. So
we'll be there to greet you at the door.
Absolutely. So thank you, ladies. I'm sure you got about 20 fires to stomp out, so we'll let you go do that. And,
okay, sounds great.
We'll see you next time.
We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Anytime, and appreciate what you guys do.
See you next month. All right.
Yes, thank
you.
Hello. A murder trial getting underway this week for an Artesia man, Nathan Garrison, accused of killing a man named Tyler Grantham in November of 2021.
And good morning. It is 14 minutes after 9 o'clock. Maybe I should wait. I should have hit that right now. But anyway, good morning. It is 14 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning from the Chaves County Health Council, Carrie Moore back with us. Good morning. How are you today?
For things.
I know. I'm one of those. By the way, blah, 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 we're on. Yeah. So, but first off, how is your day going? Are you a Super Bowl? Do you even care about that stuff, or are you a fan?
No, it happens too late in the afternoon, and everybody. No, I get too cold.
Well, I know as a purveyor of food, you like to cook and things. I didn't know if you were one that felt like a need to cook Super Bowl things for people or not.
No, and okay. So when I was going to UNM, I worked for the Lobos, and I broke down football game tapes.
Okay.
So I watched football 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
So it was a job for you.
It was a job. Yeah. After that, I don't watch football as much anymore.
Like I could care less.
Yeah, there's only so many of those game tapes. I mean, because if you ever broke down game tapes, you're watching the same game.
Oh, I know.
For a week.
And you're looking at, and you're pointing, I imagine. And you've got to categorize and stuff for the coaches to do whatever they're going to do with it. And,
there was only, special teams, man.
Because I imagine, and I'm going to guess, now that we're in a little bit more modern times where they, all the players and everybody have iPads, so I imagine these film people have to build this whole thing for them so each player can access, each coach can access, and so if you're on that department,
I'm going with that because I'm young enough that I had iPads when I was in college.
I was going to say it was probably mostly done in film rooms and things. They didn't. But nowadays, but here's also the other work. You had to do it probably with tape and you know what I mean? It wasn't
I was on VCR.
Yeah, it wasn't digital like it was where you could just copy, move. There was a lot more effort in the tape. You had to transfer it over to this and maybe even cut and splice maybe. I mean, depending on some of that technology.
If it puts any time frame into this, Urlacher was a sophomore.
There you go. That's right. It was before the blue field and all that stuff.
So, a little dated there.
But for bringing it back here, for folks who don't know, the Chaves County Health Council, of course, the big thing that the public needs to know is they are the purveyor of the 211, which is if you're looking for resources for health care, and of course, over the lately here with flooding and fires and everything else that's been going on, it's been kind of that resource for those kinds of resources. But, it is still also the date if you're looking for any health advice, if you're new to town and looking for doctors, or if you're trying to find resources for whatever, kids, vaccines, to shots, to everything, that 211 is a great resource for that.
So Chaves County is the only county in the state that operates the 211 line. And when I say county, we're not a government agency. So we are a
soon as this computer decides to work with me here. Give me a moment here. By the way, coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to replay the interview that Mike had with Ms. Carrie Moore from the Chaves County Health Council. We'll be replaying that coming up here in just a moment. Right now, let us get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Gusty wind today. We have cold front moving through the area. That'll keep us in the upper 50s to about 60 on the afternoon high. We will have sunshine with a few clouds, but the wind will be gusty up to 35 or 40 miles an hour. Overnight, the wind will calm down, clear skies, and upper 20s to low 30s, and then we're in the mid 50s for the afternoon high on Thursday. Should be sunny. Friday looks fair and warmer. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Running a business is tough. Operational demands change fast, and keeping up can feel impossible. That's where DSI comes in. We've been helping local businesses thrive for over 25 years. You might know us for printer products, but we're your one-stop shop for cutting-edge office technology. From managed IT, running a business is tough. Operational demands change fast, and keeping up can feel impossible. That's where DSI comes in. We've been helping local businesses thrive for over 25 years. You might know us for printer products, but we're your one-stop shop for cutting-edge office technology. From managed IT to video security, audio-visual technology, and more.
It's time for
DSI
Chavis
has everything you
County
need.
Sports
We're
Report.
flexible, local,
Big
and have the
victory last night
resources
for
of a
the
national
Roswell
corporation.
Pilots
Be
in
more
boys
productive.
basketball.
Make more
As
money.
the district schedule turns to the second half, Roswell wins at home against Hobbs 79-69. The two teams had met before in Hobbs, January 28th. Hobbs won that one 91-73, but Roswell gets a little vengeance, moves their record to 19-5 overall. More importantly, though, 3-1 in district play. That's the same record as Hobbs right now. Next up for Roswell will be a home game this Friday night against Carlsbad. Carlsbad last night beat Clovis 58-43. In girls hoops, it was no contest as Hobbs defeats Roswell by a score of 66-32. The Lady Coyotes still looking for their first district victory. The sports report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
It's possible to turn peanut butter into diamonds. Peter Pan tried it with his buddy Skippy, but they couldn't do it in a jiff. Here's Mike Winters.
Morning, it is 14 minutes. And good morning, it is 14 minutes after 9 o'clock. Maybe I should wait. I should have hit that right now. But anyway, good morning. It is 14 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning from the Chavis County Health Council, Carrie Moore back with us. Good morning. How are you today?
For things.
Yeah, I know. I'm one of those. By the way, blah, 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 we're on. Yeah. So, but first off, how is your day going? Are you a Super Bowl? Do you even care about that stuff, or are you a fan?
No, it happens too late in the afternoon, and everybody. No, I get too cold.
Well, and I know as a purveyor of food, you like to cook and things. I didn't know if you were one that felt like a need to cook Super Bowl things for people or not.
No, and okay. So when I was going to UNM, I worked for the Lobos, and I broke down football game tapes.
Okay.
So I watched football 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
So it was a job for you. And
it was a job.
Yeah.
After that, I don't watch football as much anymore.
I got to care less.
Yeah, there's only so many of those game tapes. I mean, because if you ever broke down game tapes, you're watching the same game.
Oh, I know.
For a week.
And you're looking at, and you're pointing, yeah, I imagine. And you've got to categorize and stuff for the coaches to do whatever they're going to do with it. And,
yeah, there was only, special teams, man.
Because I imagine, and I'm going to guess, now that we're in a little bit more modern times where they, all the players and everybody have iPads, so I imagine these film people have to build this whole thing for them so each player can access, each coach can access, and so if you're on that department,
I'm going with that because I'm young enough that I had iPads when I was in college.
I was going to say it was probably mostly done in film rooms and things. They didn't. But nowadays, but here's the other work. You had to do it probably with tape and you know what I mean? It wasn't
I was on VCR.
Yeah, it wasn't digital like it was where you could just copy, move. There was a lot more effort in the tape. You had to transfer it over to this and maybe even cut and splice maybe. I mean, depending on some of that technology. But,
if it puts any time frame into this, Urlacher was a sophomore.
There you go. That's right. It was before the blue fields and all that stuff.
So, a little dated there.
But for bringing it back here, for folks who don't know, the Chavis County Health Council, of course, the big thing that the public needs to know is they are the purveyor of the 211, which is if you're looking for resources for health care,
the 211 line. And when I say county, we're not a government agency, so we are a nonprofit.
Yeah, this is all volunteers
Right.
and community people. I mean, there's some grant money.
we have
things,
some paid staff,
but
but
this is mostly volunteers and people that are grassroots. This isn't people. These aren't people that work for the government by day and all that.
No, not at all. So we operate that resource line. We try to find all the resources we can, which is kind of like my forte is finding information. So it kind of works out on that one. It's not a 24/7 hotline. It's only
Right. Yeah. Don't call it at 2 a.m, but during the business hours, it's because it's volunteers that run the line and things. It's not like a 911. If you have an emergency, 911 or the mental health
988 for mental health.
To your resource lines there. But if you're just wanting gee-whiz general health care information, or even outside that scope, if you're like, hey, what's the rec side of things like in town here? If you're new to town and looking for those kind of, the 211 is kind of that information source there.
Yeah, we get calls all the time. What's happening? Is there an event going on? What's education
from
pieces?
What's going on with the rec center to hey, what's and then of course the other big thing, which I imagine we're probably going to have to do some talking here in the summer, but is the big health expo that you guys put on every usually August time frame.
In August. This
Unfortunately,
year,
it might not be happening at the same location than it normally does because of I
don't think it'll be ready.
I don't think it'll be ready by then. So we may be talking about, I don't know if it's fairgrounds or wherever we're doing it this year. But
that's this
might be
week's agenda is to find a location to house,
By the way, if you want to get involved, you can always come to those health council meetings and be a part of it too.
Which, by the way, the Health Council membership meeting is this week.
Okay.
It's this Wednesday over at 500 North Main.
Okay.
At the bank.
Yeah.
What do they call the bank now? SunWest Center is what we always called it.
I don't.
The big red and white bank.
I always say
on
Bank
Main.
of America building, and people, it's not the bank. SunWest building. Let's go with that. It's the red, white, and blue building downtown that oddly used to look like the building that Bank of America was in, where Peppers is up.
Yeah, there you go. So Suite 102. It's a lunchtime meeting. It's from 12 to 1. We try to make it short and sweet. And again, it's the membership. So this is where anybody and everybody.
Yeah, I'd love to have people, because this is like you said, it's all volunteers, and really it's like the public work, like the stuff like the 211 and the Health Expo. That's kind of what you see the public sees. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes as far as getting resources. If there's like working with our healthcare entities in town to get them information and resource. Like there's a lot of times like. If you guys get a hold of some expert with autism or something like that, you're reaching out to our various healthcare people saying, hey, there's a person in town with some stuff. Your professionals might want to chime in on this one and get some in. That's all that the Health Council does too, that not necessarily the public sees all the time.
Right. Yeah. We're about coordination. We're coordinating the health pieces.
Yeah.
And when we say health, we're talking everything. I mean, so it's not just, your blood pressure and your heart.
Sure.
Financial health, because that affects
everything.
A lot
impacts
of things.
Quality of life.
Exactly.
From mental health, because mental health is a big, broad, and what causes mental health and what the triggers and things like that. It's all part of that. So yes, when we talk Health Council, it's very broad. So when it comes to needing food assistance and things like that, that too comes under that umbrella. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, we do all that too. We are working on the Veteran Symposium.
Excellent.
So that's next month. So that's March 29th.
And they've been meeting over at the Legion Hall there on like monthly or quarterly or something, haven't
So
they?
we have the Together with Veterans program.
Okay,
which
so it's
is
a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different. So the Together with Veterans program is about rural suicide awareness. And so we're building those pieces.
Symposium's the big event that usually happens down like the Armory or something.
Right. Yeah. So like this Saturday is the teams meeting, the Together with Veterans meeting, which will be over at the VFW.
Yes. They're on Montana.
On
American
Montana.
Legion Post 28.
There you go.
I don't know the actual address. It's on Montana there. You can't miss it.
Yeah. And that starts at 11:30.
It's down the road from all the other, was it
the
Joy
ball
Center?
fields and Joy Center.
Right there. It's all there on Montana.
So we have that that we're still working on that, and then the symposium. We got to have them all different names, right? The symposium will be about gathering the resources that are available just for the veterans.
Yeah, that is for veterans, and it'll usually the morning they'll have different panel discussions and things about veteran benefits and things. Usually, all kinds of usually your VFWs and all the veterans organizations usually have representation. But if you're looking to tap into benefits, if you're looking to find out what your benefits are, if you're looking to find resources through veterans, whether it's healthcare services or financial services,
or new is the tax exempt status.
Yeah. Put it this way: there's perks for being a veteran. If you're not taking advantage of them, go to the symposium and learn this stuff.
Yes,
because you're full. I mean, do you want to pay more for taxes if you don't have to?
No, nobody does.
I mean, if you're a veteran, you can go down to the clerk's office and register and get a discount in your taxes. And you've earned this as being a veteran. Take advantage of it.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
this is one of the rewards of it.
And I know some veterans are stubborn and we're like, I don't know,
Some.
All.
I love y'all.
Yeah, we're as hard headed as they come. Well, I think what it is we got, when you're active duty, you're so used to being told where to win and how to do it and everything else that when you're on your own, you're kind of like, I'm done with people telling me where to go and how to do it. I figured that one out. I'll get there my way.
Yeah.
That's kind of where most of us kind of think. It's like I've been yelled at for 20 years. I'm done getting that crap. But again, this is kind of 211. Call it if you have any questions about any of the stuff we're talking about. That's call the 211. We'd be happy to resource that kind of. As far as flooding and all that, is there any new updates? I know FEMA's they're still there, but they've kind of pulled chocks. But if you still have cases and things in there, still helping all that.
So,
any kind of updates there?
The only update that we've got going on, so the long-term recovery group, which is pretty much the ones that kind of take over after FEMA's done.
FEMA goes on to the next.
They're still in their planning process. They're hoping to have a community meeting here pretty soon.
Okay.
But that'll be the group that'll come in and say, okay, we've got X amount of dollars in the community. Let's start finding volunteers. Let's purchase a truckload of sheetrock and bring these volunteers in and let's go to work.
Right.
Because we know FEMA's not going to cover everybody's expenses or losses in this one. So
they'll get you the bare minimum, but then the creature comfort, to getting back to the that's where these other
that's where the community comes back into play on it. So it feels like I know we're getting a lot of calls and people feel like we've forgotten and things have just slowed down, and it's not necessarily the case. It's just it's taking a different turn and a different way to start the recovery process. Still, if you haven't utilized your FEMA and your appeals, you have to appeal everything. Because even if they give you some money, you have to say, well, you know what? I need more than that. Appeal it.
Anybody that's had experience going disability or any of these, it's the same gauntlet you have to do.
Yep.
It's designed by design, and the FEMA reps will tell you that. That's why if you went to the mall or they came to your door and they know the system. This is why they tell you, are you sure? Because as soon as you say the magic word, I can check this box and everything. But all you got to do is say the magic word.
And they're not going to tell you that word.
But they're going to kind of lead you there if you let them. But they are there to help, and they know the buttons to push to get you through and the buttons that will be the roadblocks. And so, that's why the FEMA reps themselves will, because they're almost going to say, I guarantee they're going to shoot you down the first time. It's no different than disability or Social Security. Anytime you're applying for these kind of benefits, the odds of you getting through the first time are pretty slim to none.
Well, and it's not necessarily that they shoot you down all the way. It's kind of like they lowball it at the beginning, because when they do their assessments, they say, okay, well, this is all the damage you have.
Yeah.
And then when you bring in your contractors, they're like, oh, yeah, no, they're delusional and they don't understand how, the rest of the world works.
At the end of the day, they want to pay the least amount to fix the problem as humanly possible.
And so that's where you take all those quotes and all that stuff and you go back and you appeal it. Again, if you need help working through the process or need more information on it, you can call 211. They can transfer you and get you in touch with me, and I can help you navigate some of those systems and some of the things that we've learned through the process on some of those keywords on how to get some of those things, we can do that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So please, 211 again, reach out and then of course if you want more information about Veteran Symposium or any of that stuff, don't hesitate to call on that too.
And on the Veteran Symposium, we are working on putting together a resource guide just for the veterans, which will of course have the normal resources, but we're trying to gather the list of the veteran-owned businesses.
Oh, nice.
So this way we can try to support.
Sure, absolutely.
That
Those
demographic.
veterans,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, when they choose what business they support, they look at a lot of things like that. So we can say, well, if you like to support veteran-owned businesses, here's a list of 20, 30 of them here in Chavez County.
Right. So if you have a veteran-owned business, give 211 a call, because then we can direct you to where we can get your information and get you in our resource guide, because it's important. We want to support everybody that we can.
Absolutely. So again, 211 is kind of the catch-all. If you missed anything we're talking about here, that's that resource.
It's an easy number to remember.
And and by the way, like I said, if you're looking for a place to get involved in our community, the Chavez County Health Council is always looking for volunteers to serve in various capacities. Whether it is when we have these events and we need the actual logistics of people moving and setting up booths and everything, from coming to some of these membership meetings and coming to these committee meetings, serving on the board and various committees, because like I said, it's mostly volunteers. There are so many people that this is not their day job, when they're doing 20 other things. And unfortunately, the amount of work that is needed that the Health Council's tackling requires a lot of volunteers, a lot of help here.
Right. And and the membership is kind of what guides the council to start with, because we need those pieces to be able to determine what our community needs.
Sure.
I mean, that's the whole reason that we have county health councils, is because Santa Fe can't figure out what it is we
and that's
do.
why it's and to be honest, it's the help, because we've just had such a weird year of events. This health council's had to be very fluid and very triage moment, and so. But that's how the Health Council's built. It's built to be that way. It's not supposed to be the rigid where Red Cross and says, okay, when Red Cross is here, X, and X, and X happen. And Health Council's like, that's wonderful, except X, and X won't get what we need. We need X, Y, Z, and then X again. And this is what we do. And this is kind of like if you looked at the fires when Rio Doso and all that, and Red Cross come in, and we kind of, if you remember, we kind of already had everything triaged a little bit, and then Red Cross come in there and just moved all the logistics around and created a complete hot mess. And when the flooding happened here, I think Health Council and other people said, Red Cross, we are going to do it this way. You will march to our drum beat, and this is how. And that's kind of how this one went. I mean, FEMA come in on this one, so it got a little different. But what I'm saying is, I feel like Red Cross, because we're here.
There
was a little less of that for the.
Well, yeah, because we're here, we live here, we know what the resources are. So when it comes to some of these pieces, they're looking at us anyways, because we have those ties. Now, they still work within the government pieces, because that's how that's all tied together.
Red tape.
Yeah. But I mean, this is where we all kind of work great together.
Sure.
On it.
And that's where so if you want to get involved, please reach out. Call 211. They'd be happy to come to the next membership meeting this week here. Again, at the Sun West building, we'll call it that.
500 North Main.
And what's the date and time of that again?
That is Wednesday the 12th at noon.
Very good. So this at noon, and again here at the Sun West building,
Suite 102.
102.
Yep,
good.
Downstairs.
Did we get it all?
I think so. We did Health Council, we did Expo, Veterans.
Well, we'll get it again in 2 weeks for the next.
Yeah, well, in 2 weeks everything will change, so it'll be something else.
It'll be different, but the same. Like the meeting times will be different, but the needs are going to be the same.
Right.
As always, Carrie, thank you very much, and don't work too hard.
I try not to.
It is 9:31. We're going to take a quick break, and then Amy McVeigh-Tejas with the Historical Society will join us. Don't go away. The needs are going to be the same.
Right.
As always, Carrie, thank you very much. And don't work too hard.
I try not to.
It is 9:31. We're going to take a quick break, and then Amy.
Wall Street Business Report. I'm Bill Alexander. U.S. stocks drifted to a mixed close following President Donald Trump's latest tariff escalation and after the Federal Reserve hinted interest rates may not change for a while. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell was on Capitol Hill. He said the U.S. Central Bank is in no rush to cut its short-term interest rate again, given the economy is strong overall. Powell also said Americans' bank accounts are safe, despite the Trump administration's order for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to end all of its supervisory and rulemaking work. Mexico, Canada, and the European Union on Tuesday condemned President Donald Trump's decision to impose tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports next month, a move that has fanned fears of trade wars. DoorDash topped analyst estimates for quarterly revenue and total orders as consumers turned to its online platform to buy everything from food and groceries to alcohol during the holiday season. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Attention Roswell, the all-new Roswell Ford is back and open for business for service, parts, and sales at our dealership at 821 North Main Street. Our goal for 2025 is to make buying a new Ford and quality pre-owned vehicle super fun, super fast, and super easy. In fact, we'll give you the price we give to a friend or family member right up front. Bring us any trade in any condition. Don't even wash it. At Roswell Ford, all trades are welcome. Making payments on your current vehicle and want out early? We can help. We'll take your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. Roswell Ford has partnered with even more aggressive lenders, all with great rates and terms for good credit, no credit, and even bad credit, with rates as low as 0% APR. Plus, we have a great selection of low-mileage, one-owner pre-owned vehicles in prime condition, starting at just $10,000. Huge savings, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell, or online at roswellford.com. 0 APR for 48 months is $20.83 per thousand finance, plus tax, title, and license with approved credit.
When you stick with Block, everyone's a winner. Weekly prizes and giveaways like a Samsung 65-inch 4K Smart TV to be giving away on February 21st. Your Roswell, New Mexico H&R Block wants to help those affected by the recent flooding that affected our beautiful city. We are offering a discount to any tax filers claiming a casualty loss deduction this season. Please give us a call at 575-622-5455 or stop by our new location at 701 South Main. H&R Block has got you covered.
Space, the final frontier.
Hi, Captain. You can choose your space at Main Trailer Sales.
Fascinating. Don't cling on to that old camper. The logical choice. New Durangos, Montanas, Cougars, and Passports from Main Trailer Sales. They allow space and comfort. Boldly explore like never before.
Beam on board to that perfect camper.
Don't go camping without us. Live long and explore.
Main Trailer Sales. Don't go camping without us.
Hi, I'm Chef Anthony Noble at the Valley Cafe located at 801 West Brasher in Roswell. We want to welcome you for dinner 5 to 8 p.m. weekdays, except Wednesday we close at 2 p.m. If you haven't tried our food yet, I hope you come try one of our dinner entrees, pasta, soups, salads, burgers, and sandwiches, and our weekly specials as well. Let me make you great dinner. Visit the Valley Cafe at 801 West Brasher, the Orange Building across from Church on the Move in Roswell.
Can't see us in person? Find our full menu on DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats.
If you suffer from pogonophobia, you would not want to attend a party with the following people: Kenny Rogers, Santa Claus, Willie Nelson, the cast of Duck Dynasty, and 2/3 of ZZ Top. Here's Mike Winters.
It's fear of turtlenecks. It's what it is. 2 minutes away from 8 o'clock. In case you missed any point of this morning, you can always go back and check it out in its entirety over at ksvptv.com. Click on the Mornings with Mike Winters tab. You can enjoy the show in its entirety. After the show, Ms. Jocelyn will be chopping up all the interviews we have next hour, or at least the interview we have with the superintendent next hour, and have that up for you over on the Facebook page. Hey, real quickly, wanted to remind you, coming up this Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Roswell Public Library in the Bondurant Room, it's Blackdom's Legacy Day. It's your chance to come out and learn about the first all-black settlement in New Mexico. They'll have photographs, artifacts, court records, and written interviews, as well as the PBS documentary, 100-year-old advertisements, Blackdom pioneers, property deeds, newspaper articles, maps and books, and children's interactive corner, all to learn about Blackdom and the history of Roswell. It's a really fascinating history and a really interesting deep dive to kind of go back to a completely different time and just a different way of doing things in America. And this is your chance to relive that and kind of experience what they experienced. And I'm a sucker for old advertisements too, especially like old print ads. So stuff like that always fascinates me. That's going to be this Saturday, 1 to 4 p.m. in the Bondurant Room at the Roswell Public Library. Come on by and enjoy all of the great stuff there. Enjoy and learn and, edify yourself, broaden your horizons, if you will. Stay tuned. Next hour, we're going to be sitting down, chit-chatting with Brian Luck, the superintendent of the Roswell Independent School District. See how the school board meeting went and see where we are moving into spring 2025. Obviously, graduation season approaching. That's next hour on A Morning Without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Roswell's home for talk radio is 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The cost of gas, groceries, and used cars all playing a role in last month's spike of inflation. The Consumer Price Index was up 3% from 12 months earlier. It's a hotter-than-expected report that has sent Wall Street sharply lower this morning, as it likely bolsters the Fed's resolve to delay any further interest rate cuts. Mark Fogel says he feels like the luckiest man on earth. The Pennsylvania teacher back in the U.S. after a presidential envoy negotiated his release by Russia.
I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. President Trump is a hero.
Arrested in August of 2021, Fogel was serving a 14-year prison sentence for possessing a small amount of medical marijuana. Elon Musk suggesting that the work of rooting out wasteful government spending is a no-brainer.
It's just common sense. It's not draconian or radical, I think. It's really just saying, let's look at each of the expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's approved. If it's not, we should think about it.
But there have been literal howls of protest from Democrats and lawsuits from government employee unions. Ukraine's president suggesting a deal aimed at ending the war with Russia.
Speaking to the Guardian newspaper, Volodymyr Zelensky said parts of Russia's Kursk region, which Ukraine has held since an offensive 6 months ago, could be swapped for Ukrainian territory currently occupied by Russia. He also reiterated the need for continued military support and strong security guarantees from the United States. Mr. Zelensky's comments come ahead of a meeting with Vice President Vance at a security conference in Munich.
The BBC's Kat Wiener. And on Wall Street this morning, stocks are in the red. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 374 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Have any canned tuna in the cupboard? Well, there's word of a safety recall involving several brands.
The fear is the possibility of botulism. The voluntary action by Tri-Union Seafoods of El Segundo, California, was initiated because the product might be contaminated with the type of bacteria that causes the rare but serious infection. The outlets involved include Trader Joe's, Costco, and H-E-B. The recalled lots of tuna were sold under the labels of the Genova, Van Camp's, H-E-B, and Trader Joe's brand names. Consumers can return the product for a refund. Botulism can cause a neurotoxin that results in difficulty breathing, paralysis, and death. George Williams reporting.
An Australian hospital examining its patient records after a nurse claimed online to have killed Israelis. Officials say there is no evidence of harm to patients. A police strike force tasked with focusing on a surge in anti-Semitic crimes is investigating the ramifications of the video. Townhall.com. Monty is a champ. The giant schnauzer has won the top prize at the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show in New York, besting 6 other finalists, taking best in show. Ever find a penny on the ground? Chances are you have, but probably not one like this.
Malcolm Wheel was in a farmer's field with his metal detector when he unearthed a tiny and dirt-covered object. It turned out to be a silver penny minted during the reign of Guthrum, who was the 9th century Viking ruler of eastern England. Wheel's find was on show Tuesday at the British Museum in a display on the Portable Antiquities Scheme. The government-funded project records thousands of archaeological discoveries made by the public each year. The coin sat alongside a set of 3,000-year-old metalworkers' tools, a 7th century gold necklace, and a signet ring from the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. Keith Peters reporting.
More at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel witch and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2 of a morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Wednesday, happy halfway day, happy hump day, whatever day you want to call it, just so long as you get up, you get at 'em, doggone it, you make it your day. You know, I was listening to the news back there a second ago. They said that the guy was metal detecting in the field, and he found a dirt-covered penny that was from the 9th century. I hate to tell you this, buddy, but pennies aren't worth anything anymore. Didn't you hear? They're getting rid of them. So, I mean, congratulations, but it's basically just like a pendant at this point. Put it on a necklace or something. I was kind of fascinated when I heard him talking about the Treasury talking about getting rid of the penny. And first of all, it's not a bad idea. I mean, we do spend a lot of money, a lot more than a penny's worth, minting pennies. And honestly, I think at this point we have enough of them. But the question on my mind is, what are we going to do with the pennies we have now? We just turn them all in, get our money back, and call it? I mean, obviously they're still worth 1 cent, right? We can still take them down to the Coinstar and exchange them out and get some money's worth, I would think. So, what to do in this scenario? I've got to go unearth a few coffee cans, I think, and I'll get my kids' college funds in order. But if you have pennies, if you're sitting on pennies, you might want to pay close attention to what's going to be happening, because pretty soon those are going to be going the way of the dodo, and I think we might want to turn those pennies in, and or at least upgrade our coffee cans to just being full of nickels. And then you find out nickels, it costs like 13 cents to make a nickel. So yeah, we're losing money all over the place when it comes to minting currency. And no, I don't think that we need to go to a cashless society, because doggone it, still needs my folding money. But yeah, change is definitely another one of those weird things. Metal currency is one of those that, well, I think that maybe we need to look at it moving forward. That being said, if you're sitting on an investment of pennies, you might want to do something about that. Also, if your name is Penny, you might want to throw an E before the Y there, just to be on the safe side, so that so they don't come looking for you. Just something to be on the lookout for. But anyways, Mixmaster Mike is out. He's off heading towards Lubbock. I believe he's probably there by now, getting his eyes checked out, his laser eyes, getting those fixed up for you. Hopefully, barring any kind of issues, he'll be back inside your radios and right here inside the captain's chair tomorrow morning. I'm finding it harder and harder to do this long-form talk thing. I'm not sure if it's what's going around, but my throat has been really playing with me lately. It's like, when you talk for a living, it's really good that the one thing that you have, like your entire way you can feed your children, when it doesn't work anymore, yeah, that's not pleasant. But I digress, and we move forward. Just a quick reminder, we mentioned it last hour, but I do want to mention one more time. Coming up this Saturday at the Roswell Public Library, it's Blackdom's Legacy Day, and this is a great chance for you to learn about a part of right here in Southeast, right here in our own backyard in Chaves County, that a lot of people don't even know about and probably have never even seen before. But this is your chance to learn about the Blackdom Town site, and it was the first all-black settlement here in New Mexico. They'll have photographs, artifacts, court records, and written interviews, 100-year-old advertisements, Blackdom pioneers, property deeds, as well as newspaper articles, maps and books, a kids' interactive corner, and a PBS documentary there as well. So just a really cool chance to dive into the history of Roswell and of Blackdom and find out more about this part of our history. So that's going to be happening this Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Roswell Public Library at the Bondurant Room. It is a come-and-go event. You don't have to stay the whole time. Come, take part in it, get some edification, get some information, and go from there. But this Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Roswell Public Library in the Bondurant Room. So, by the way, it is great to see the Roswell Public Library back up and running after just a crazy year they had last year. It was a rough one out there for them, but they are back up and running almost full capacity. We'll call it like 80% at this point. But this is a great chance to learn and a great chance to be a part of the Roswell history. So that's going to be happening this Saturday at the Bondurant Room at the Roswell Public Library. Head to Facebook and search for Roswell Public Library for more information about that. 11 minutes after 8 o'clock, let me give you the rundown for this hour of the program. Going to get you up to date with the weather here in just a few minutes. And then about 8:15 or so, got the superintendent of schools, Brian Luck. He'll be chatting with us coming up here in just a bit, getting us up to date on what went down at the school board meeting, as well as getting us geared up for graduation season. It's going to be here again before you know it. It seems like these school years are just going by quicker and quicker as I get older and older. Time is a fickle construct. 11 minutes after 8 o'clock, let us get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Gusty wind today. We have cold front moving through the area. That'll keep us in the upper 50s to about 60 on the afternoon high. We will have sunshine with a few clouds, but the wind will be gusty up to 35 or 40 miles an hour. Overnight, the wind will calm down, clear skies, and upper 20s to low 30s, and then we're in the mid 50s for the afternoon high on Thursday. Should be sunny. Friday looks fair and warmer. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Let me get the weather pulled up here so we can get you up to date with the up-to-the-minute forecast. Looking at a mix of clouds and sun today. Right now it's 40 degrees around Roswell Way. Humidity is at 86%. Winds out of the north at around 5 miles an hour. Barometer at 29.74 inches with a dew point of 36 degrees. As mentioned, mix of clouds and sun, 60 for the high today. Winds out of the west 5 to 15 miles an hour. For tonight, partly cloudy. A low of around 26 degrees, winds out of the west 10 to 15 miles an hour, becoming northeast after midnight. For your Thursday, partly sunny, 51 for the high, light and variable winds. Light and variable sounds like a yogurt brand. Becoming south 10 to 15 miles an hour in the morning. For your Thursday night, partly cloudy, 32 degrees for the overnight low, winds out of the south 10 to 15 miles an hour. For Friday, partly sunny, 72 winds again out of the south 10 to 20 miles an hour. And then for Friday night, partly cloudy, 41 degrees. 65 and sunny for Saturday, 54 and sunny for Sunday. And then for your Washington's birthday, President's Day, whatever you want to call it, 71 degrees and a whole lot of sunshine. Hey, real quickly, I wanted to remind you that it is that time of the year once again. What time of the year, you ask? Time to double up and save, because double up days are back at Roswell Honda. And that means double your down payment, which means $500 is going to get you $1,000, $1,000, $2,000, and $2,000 is going to get you $4,000 towards your next new or pre-owned vehicle. And with fantastic rates, as well as great interest rates and low down payment, it's your chance to drive away today and save. They got great deals on your next set of wheels, including an F-150 priced under $20,000. Now is the time to make your dollar stretch even further. It's double up days going on now at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd. Stop by and see them, and make sure to mention that you heard about them on Roswell's Talk FM. 14 minutes after 8 o'clock, going to pause, and after these, our chit-chat with Mr. Brian Luck from the Roswell Independent School District on the other side of these on a morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Injury, surgery, or illness can set you back, but you don't have to recover alone. At Artesia General Hospital, our rehabilitation services team provides physical, occupational, and speech therapy to help you regain strength, mobility, and confidence. Take the next step toward recovery. Call 575-736-8174 today to schedule an appointment and get back to living life to the fullest.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors. The Kubota L-Series is the #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S. They're designed for easy operation and feature performance meshed attachments. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0% APR for up to 84 months. Now through February 16th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit your local Kubota dealer, Amigo Machinery at 2801 Southeast Main Street in Roswell.
Time to move into a new year at the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop in Roswell. Valentine's fabrics are here and spring fabrics are arriving daily with a great selection of quilts, Valentine shirts, and rope bowls made right here at the Calico Cow. And Brothers sewing machines are on sale now. Plus, the Calico Cow can fix and perform maintenance on all brands. Out of town? Log on to RoswellQuilting.com to order. We ship direct. The Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop, 200 East College in Roswell. Want to know how? Come see the cow.
Mulan has the highest kill count of any Disney character. When asked for comment, Buzz Lightyear responded, "To infinity and beyond." Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 16 minutes after 8 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, Mr. Brian Luck, Super Nintendo of the Roswell Independent School District. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Absolutely. I've been wanting to make that joke for years now. It's the Ralph Wiggum from The Simpsons. Super Nintendo Chalmers.
I've been called a lot worse this week, so I mean, not right there. We're just going to roll with it.
And just this week. So
yeah,
that's really saying something. So obviously we were kind of chit-chatting off the air. It's the back half of the year. Things are kind of gearing up for for finals, for playoffs for certain sports, and for graduation at the end of everything. We're just kind of chugging along, getting the spring semester going. It's as we mentioned, kind of a quieter time. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But a quieter time for the Roswell Independent School District. So how have things been going?
They're going good. You brought up some interesting things. I mean, it's funny. It is an odd time. You're coming out of Christmas. January is like its own year. I mean, you were talking about that.
I was just
the
saying
other day on the radio.
January was the longest decade of my life.
It is, and that's always. You come back, and we actually had the Christmas break this time where it was a little bit on the back end, more days on the back end than on the front end. So we even got the benefit of that. You get through January, we had a little cold spell. February kicks off. Kind of a buffer month. You're not quite out of winter yet, but you're not quite into spring and doing your spring stuff. For us, got state mandated drills. That first month back, we got to get our fire drills in, got to get our safety stuff going. We have had a lot of that going on around the area, getting that kind of stuff done. And then just transitioning. We've got our parent open house on Thursday night. Parent teacher conference is Thursday night.
Yep.
The time did change on that. They are 4 to 6 instead of 4 to 7:30.
Okay.
And then we're going to open it another hour and a half longer on Friday. So
the afternoon.
We'll go to 1:30.
Okay. Excellent.
And that the mid schools they have a standard across the board lunch from 11 to 11:30. So we were trying to give them a lunch somewhere near lunch hour, but yet not take away the parents' opportunities that are working, that are trying to get out there on lunch.
But at the same time, you don't want them, yelling at the teachers while they're just trying to get a sandwich done, basically,
Well, and you never can make it perfect for everybody. You've got, with parents that have kids in different grades, especially at the mid schools, they've got a 6th grader and an 8th grader, something like that. But that's happening Thursday evening, and again, like I said, on Friday, 1:30 we're done. and give our teachers a little bit of time Friday afternoon to kind of go and enjoy some family time. And then we've got Monday off. It's a community learning day. So we've had some really cool lesson plans turned into me for that one. Looking forward to what they're going to do there. And then, you're 2 weeks out of February and you're on into March.
It's so crazy how time, like I said, time is such a fickle construct. January's so long, February's like a blip, and then we're off to the races in March. And that really does, like you mentioned, the buffer month. We kind of need this month to just kind of like, okay, let's do this, and then hit the ground running come March.
Well, it's interesting. So for me, coming out of the high school, everything is either a sports or an activities milestone. So you have your fall sports stuff, and they end with a state championship or a trip up to Albuquerque for volleyball or soccer, something like that.
Right.
Your basketball is such a crazy long sport because it seems like somebody's always playing a basketball game somewhere, and you're always covering it. So, thank you. Shameless plug for Gene right there. But
absolutely.
That's a lot. And then you get to this point, we've got, basically 3 games left, a playoff game, and then, a district playoff game, and then hopefully some state tournament brackets. And then that's done.
It's just straight.
And then it's when it's done, whenever we have state tournament up in Albuquerque, you're looking spring break.
Yep.
Somewhere after that. And then that mid-March to end of April, that's a pretty good haul right there.
Oh yeah.
We do a lot of our state testing in that time frame. Not a lot of breaks, and then, like you said, we're done. So graduation is really just right around the corner, especially for our seniors.
I've been hearing it's one of those kind of ASMR things. I'll be sitting out there waiting to pick up my son from school, and I'll just hear the tink, tink of the bass from the baseball field from Goddard.
Yep.
So you just know it's in the air. Practices are happening. Baseball season is right around the corner. Basically, right off the heels of baseball season, right off the heels of basketball season. So there is no stopping.
No, and I got tickled the other day. We had 5 days roughly of really pretty weather, and they had the kids out there for some tryouts and some different activities at both facilities, Goddard and Roswell. And I kind of laughed because I was just like, you do realize that this is not even remotely baseball weather or softball weather. This is, this is the calm before the storm. So, looking forward to it. It was over yesterday looking at Nancy Lopez and the construction that's coming along over there, and the beams that are going up and the steel, the framing that's going up for the walls, and literally almost ran into, specifically the track kids.
Oh.
And I kind of laughed because I was like, oh, yeah, it's track season 2 for the mid-schools. So
I feel like they would have run into you. They're doing their job.
Well, yeah, if we were doing our job right, we wouldn't have hit anybody. But we got the truck stopped, and they got on by and got their workout finished. But no, there's just it's funny. There's not a lot outwardly going on, but there's always something going on with the schools, and that's what we want. We want them to do that.
Gears are always moving, and like you mentioned, the construction of Nancy Lopez. It seems like you guys are kind of one at a time taking care of all of the schools in the district, and it's really been amazing to see, from the outside perspective, but also quite an undertaking.
Tell you what, if those that are new to the community, and I say new, inside 20 years, new to Roswell. The people that were on the school board that were in administration for the district, give or take 20, 25 years ago, had a vision. And they literally started with the oldest school almost in New Mexico and started working on that. And then after that, it just it started rolling.
Yeah.
With the help of the, public PSFA, Public School Finance Authority, we've been doing some great things where you're not having to build 100% of community dollars. You're able to leverage that with the state, and our match right now is really good. It's actually come back down to where it makes it really feasible for us to continue this. And like you said, we're almost done. Nancy Lopez, Mountain View is lined up next. We'll shift gears after that into Washington Avenue. I don't know, so don't ask on that one. And then
that is going to be quite an interesting construction situation, I feel.
It will, and that's why I pay somebody really good money, and that's his job to worry about that.
There you go. There you go.
But then the interesting one starts, because the last 2 on the list will be Goddard and Roswell.
Yep. And they're both in severe need, but I do love that they when all the renovations started happening, they did slap a really nice coat of paint on Roswell High. It got really bright red there for a couple of years.
Tell you what, and it's no different really than your home, other than the fact that we don't really get to control who comes into our home and how they treat our homes. So the work that our maintenance crews do really to keep our buildings up to date as much as possible. Did have some roof work over at Roswell High this year to help them out. They did have a new fire alarm system that went in over there this year. That does not change their ranking with the way PSFA ranks the schools. That's actually a really neat deal. So one of these days I'll have to bring in Mr. Jeremy Sanchez, who works. He's my construction guy. And I'll have him kind of explain to Mike how all of the schools are ranked across the state. That's the list you don't want to be first on. Because that means that your facility, if you are first on that particular list, you have the worst ranked facility. And traditionally, you don't stay number one very long at all. So we're monitoring those as our schools come down and they hit a particular number, we become eligible for funds. So we hit our design fund stage, and then we hit the next few stages. So like Nancy Lopez, our funds have been awarded. Obviously, the build is in Project Mountain View a little bit further on because the design is completed. We did have a really neat land donation, private individual. Did donate some land that is directly to the west of Mountain View.
Very nice.
And it enables us to have a design that we're going to, if you've ever been out there, it is a traffic nightmare. Not because all schools in the morning aren't traffic nightmares, but that one dead ends, literally at the dumpster.
Right.
And it's going to provide the opportunity for us to actually do a wraparound.
Okay.
And the design for the building has it shifted back. If you are familiar with where the building looks like at all, it will be to the southwest and kind of an angle, and then it catches back into the gymnasium that we have. So really excited about that.
Absolutely.
Like I said, and that's a testament to the taxpayers here in Roswell, the bonds that we've asked for, the different mills and different things that we've looked at. The community supports it, and our job then is to be good stewards of that money and put up a good building. Through the direction and the leadership of the boards plural from years past, they've set up a really good program for us, and we're just trying to follow it.
And you guys have done an amazing job with that money, being good stewards of that money. And I know that it's necessary for the class sizes and for the amount of kids that they're moving through. I just wish you didn't have to build them so big. I went from my kids at Del Norte, and both of my kids were post-construction of the new Del Norte. And my daughter's class was all the way at the end of the main hallway and then all the way at the other end. And then she finally moved on to Sierra now she's at. And now my son's kindergarten class is all the way at the other end of the hall. And it is just such a massive structure. And I know necessary, but just so much building.
Well, that's good, because I need to call them and thank them, because I asked them if they could put your kiddos at the furthest spots.
I figured it had something to do with that.
Okay, check that off the list. I tell you, when you said the size of the building, I knew you had to be talking about Del Norte. It is massive, and I'm from Roswell, and I went to, I would say, old Del Norte. I mean, Del Norte before we even added on the first of the 3 times I think that it was added on to, and it's a beautiful building. Mesa's. Next one down the list on that one, and pretty as well. You talked about the students and the numbers of kids. Our enrollment has dipped a little as far as overall. We haven't seen a massive drop, but we also haven't seen a massive bump. I was kind of surprised out of COVID that we didn't get a bump. We're maintaining our levels. Our teaching numbers are able to stay at about the same. So we're in a good spot when it comes to that. But you talk about the size of those buildings. Goddard High School, for instance, spent a little time in that building. If you start at the front door upstairs and you touch every outside door walking to the right, so you just make a giant right-hand circle, it's half a mile. Wow! Just the top floor. I can't even. Roswell High is huge.
Roswell High is big, but I'll tell you, as an alumni of Roswell High, some parts are big, are massive, but some parts just are not big enough.
Yeah,
those hallways, getting the funneling the cattle of children through the hallways. It's always a good time.
Well, and you're pushing almost 1,500 kiddos at Roswell High right now. I mean, every other sport that they're participating in is the large class, minus football. And I still don't quite understand that, but I don't believe that they've met the requirements for that. But you're give or take 1420 something at Roswell High right now, about 1150 at Goddard. Then you drop down into your mid schools. You've got Barundo and Sierra anywhere from 650 to 750. Mountain View's numbers have climbed up. Mesa as well. The 350 to 400 range. And those are big. And we're very blessed. We've got great people that take care of them. And a lot of times people come in just for open house type stuff or for ball games. But those people there every morning, they're there, 6 o'clock every day, got the lights on and ready to go. And, no, it's a lot. I knew what I was getting into, but I don't know that I knew what I was getting into. Because
it's like going from being a manager to a branch manager,
Tell you what, it's a small army of people, and
sure.
You put them all together, and ask people to work together in different personalities, and I'm very blessed with the crews that I've got.
And it's interesting that you said 1,500 back there. I find that kind of fascinating because we've stayed consistent with that 1,500 number. I went to school way back in the 1900s. And I remember that was the magic number, was right around 1,500 was Roswell High at that time. So then it stayed relatively consistent. It's pretty impressive.
It has, and from being at the other end of town, you talk about zone exempts this or zone exemptions that, and they really don't. And we're pretty fortunate when it comes to that. We don't have to mess with a lot of those things. We have a first choice with our ninth grade families. If they want to go to a particular building, they get a hold of the principal, they get the zone exempt, and if principal agrees to it, then they're able to go. We have run into a couple situations at a few schools that they're full.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, if it's a parent in their work situation or a babysitting situation, kind of a deal. But when we're full, we're full, and that's the one type of thing that we'll start. I'm not a fan of the summer because I deal with a lot of that in the summer. As far as we want to do this or we want to do that, and it's like, the addition of your kid at that particular building causes us to have to hire another teacher.
Right.
And we don't, our town has made a commitment to neighborhood schools for a reason. So, but we try to accommodate where we can.
Sure. And it's harder for a parent to understand things from your perspective because we're thinking, I've got my kid. This is my priority. You've got thousands to worry about. And those two things don't necessarily always meet in the middle.
No.
Rarely, if ever, do they meet in the middle.
Oh, when they do meet in the middle, it's a beautiful thing.
It's kismet. It's really awesome.
It is. And I say that. I mean, for the most part, people are willing to work, and recognize and understand. But you are right. And I think the group that I've got right now with my admin teams at the building levels, and then my cabinet and the directors and coordinators at central office, these are all parents or they're past parents of school age kiddos, and they get it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, when someone comes in, they recognize, where they're coming from.
And this is the biggest piece of advice I've ever given to parents, here in the district is at all points in time, your kid's teacher and their team or whoever is working with them they have their best interest in mind. Nobody's out for, self-interest. Trust your child's teachers, trust their team, and work with them. Don't be adversarial towards them. If we're all working towards the same goal, the goal will be reached. That's
a good point.
I mean, I've seen so many parents just almost go down to fist fighting with their kid's teacher, and it's just like, work with the teachers. Oh. They see the kids all day. They know exactly what you're dealing with at home, and if you can work together to make sure that it's a situation that the home and the school it's fluid, it makes things so much better.
Well, it's an advocate, not an adversary. And when it's done like that, it can do some neat things, and it can really help the parents out. I mean, I have a job because sometimes it doesn't work like that.
Sure.
But for the most part, all in all, I think we've shaken off some of the dust from past years of not being where we need to be. We did get some numbers that came out nationally and then statewide. You know, we're not real okay with our NAEP numbers as far as tests, and it's a national test. I'm not a fan of that test because it's not even the reading test and the math test aren't even given to the same kid. It's not given to every kid. It's given to a random selection of kids in different grades, and then they try to use that as a judgment piece. I mean, we know for a fact that our kids are weak in math, and we're working on that. We know our kids were having issues with reading comprehension. You know, as a local entity, we've addressed that, and our reading numbers are really starting to show some promising turnaround. So, you know, when we see things out, and I could put somebody on the other side of the table that would say, you know, you start with statistics, and you can make them say what you want them to say. I just know that you know, in my heart, I know that the work that we're doing is working with the kids. But you know, it's just like my widget factory. If I take your widget factory and I put it in mothballs for 2 years, it's going to take a while to get your widget factory back up and running. Absolutely right. But you do got to get to a time where you say, okay, that's it. You know, you can remember the past, but you can't quote it, and we're moving forward. So, and I think we're there. I really do.
Absolutely, and like you said, knowing where the need is and focusing on that need, like with reading and reading comprehension, if we can focus, you know, more resources, more time on that one thing, those numbers are going to come up.
Oh, we've got some of our elementary schools right now that are making the gains that are you know, well above even the high ones in the state.
I'll brag for a second. My son just got bumped up to 3 days a week going to first grade reading.
Boy, I love it.
I got to brag on him a little bit. So yeah, I've been see the results myself.
Well, and that's not by accident, and we've had people that have really worked hard to get to those spots. So you know, I am very pleased, very proud. And you know, when they come in, you know, then you set your new baseline. Well, if this is the new norm, then you know, what's the new exceeding look like if that's where we're going with this. So
constantly moving those, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
let's get down to the nitty gritty of it all. After all that, how did last evening go with the school board meeting?
You know, it went really well. We didn't have a really full meeting. We started off with probably one of the coolest things that I've gotten a chance to do. We've honored state champs for different teams before, but last night we had almost 120 kids in Pueblo Auditorium, and their parents and grandparents and neighbors, etc., for music recognition. So solo and ensembles and ones and participating in district bands and honor bands and honor choirs, and so all
very cool.
All mid-school and high school kiddos that participated in that, they got a chance to get honored as a group. Got them all on stage. They read their name and had, you know, the big group picture with the board. That took about almost 30 minutes to get that done. So I was really, really happy to see that, you know, start off with that.
I'm a former band geek myself, so I can appreciate the art.
Oh, I tell you, in that, you know, we kind of laughed, but I was really excited as far as getting the kids in and getting them their chance to be recognized on that. Had a young lady named Faith Thurman. She's a student at Mountain View. Recognized her last night. She did a speech at the Martin Luther King celebration ceremony that was held at the college, and just brought her in and thanked her again. Gave some huge shout outs. She did such a cool job. She was so nervous at the presentation. Did a little virtual walkthrough of Dr. King's life. And promised her we would make her speak. We did ask her to stand and got a chance to recognize her. Spent a little time with Mike Espiritu and honored him and the work that his organization is doing. I know they got a pretty cool award recently, and just wanted to bring him up in front of the board and talk a little bit about how we're working with his organization and trying to put our kiddos in places to be successful and stay here in Roswell.
And that's a big thing, is, you know, you want them to find success, but when every successful outlet is not here, they're going to look elsewhere. So we want to make sure we have, you know, some things here that keep the eyes on Roswell.
Well, and again, I've lived here my whole life, and we do have people that will graduate high school. Moms and dads will stay here and they'll graduate and they'll move on, and they don't return. They go to and set up their lives in different places. But, in I would say probably 45 to 60% of the kids will come back.
Yeah.
And that's a mindset shift of kind of teaching them that it's okay. And then through some of the CTE classes at the college or at the high schools and the pathways that we're working with, that it's not just okay that you come back, but since you probably will, why don't we set up some stuff where you realize that you're not just going to have a job, you're going to have a career.
Absolutely.
And out of that career, you're going to be able to, raise a family and make a life for yourself and help. Then in turn, you get a chance to help make the community a better place.
We can have things in place in this town that make it appealing to come back, then more people will come back.
Well, and I think that, with Mike and his team, that's one of their many goals. As far as that goes. And, I've been at different conferences and listened to people talk about employment opportunities within their community or lack of communication. And, we'll start talking about the group that we have here. And, they'll, how do you know that, Brian? And I'm like, well, don't you sit on the board? I sit on the board. And, well, we don't even have a group like that. And I'm like, we're so blessed. Mike got a chance to talk a little bit about the rah-rah race, coming up. And I was like, well, I knew that was coming. So, but did have an opportunity to really tie in a little bit about how we're going to deal with that. We've got 3 schools. Well, actually more, because we've got Early College, University High School, Sunset Elementary, and Mountain View. And as we approach that time frame, those 4 entities, buildings will be doing virtual learning for basically the week of that show.
Okay.
And not so much because of the planes or the disruption above.
Right.
It's the traffic.
It's going to be, they've estimated that we could see like double the population of Roswell on there for that week. So
yes.
That's definitely, it's probably for the best.
Well, and I, in my head, I'm envisioning some well-meaning grandparent that has to take their kiddo to school and I'm using Sunset as an example just because there's basically one way in and one way out into that building. And I can't, I'm having a hard time because like I said, I grew up here and I can remember what the air show looked like out there and the people and the traffic. Right. And, we want to be able to support it and have it be a good thing.
I'll say this, the closest thing I can think to wrap my head around it to visualize it is Hike It, Spike It weekend. I spent a lot of time, doing Hike It, Spike It with one of the other stations I worked at here in town. And for that weekend, you see the population of Roswell basically double. You can't go anywhere without seeing a line. Everything takes a little longer. Traffic is insane. So basically, it's going to be one of those, on steroids, essentially.
Yeah. Well, and as a town, you've got to embrace it.
Oh yeah.
And like you just said, that's the weekend you probably don't go out to eat unless you've got somewhere that you just know for a fact that you can get in and out of, or you are like it's a larger town where you're going to wait in line.
Yeah.
And your parkings, your grocery stores, your convenience stores, your gas, all of those things. It sounds kind of apocalyptic a little bit, but you kind of plan ahead a little bit on that and really make that a great thing. We've talked with our activities department actually. Not real sure how close we're going to be able to pull off on this, but we're like, hey, no tournaments that weekend. I don't need any team trying to do a hotel stay here because it's not happening. Right. And then too, if where we can, then no ball games. So that the people in different groups, if I've got a family that is volunteering with their church or with a civic organization and they've got a concession stand or they're going to help with parking or they're going to do these things, that we're not, they're not worried about us, that they're not worried about, well, I got to go to a ball game or I got to do this. I can't guarantee that it's going to happen, but that's something that we're looking at. And again, that's just part of the partnership. And that's why I wanted to bring Mike up and just really, again, thank him because he's such a visionary when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
Really, really blessed here in Roswell. Last item on our recognition, I did have my human resource director that was recognized as Human Resource Administrator of the Year, Ralph Mata. Ralph's my director, does a lot there with the district. One of his key roles is in recruiting for us right now. So, hats off to him and the work that he's done. One other kind of a key thing that we did talk about last night was our calendar update. and really wasn't anything to do with next year's calendar, but it was in relationship to the ruling that the judge just put out about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, as far as the lawsuit that dealt with, and I would say the smaller schools, but there were a couple of big schools that jumped in on that lawsuit, and it was over the 4-day weeks. So for us, it has no impact. We did not join the lawsuit, but that doesn't mean that we didn't support their right to be able to choose what they wanted.
Sure.
And we're very happy that they were able to get that opportunity to be local controlled entities. But as far as us here in Roswell, when COVID came out and the opportunity that came up for extended days and extended money for the extended days went along with it, our district went that direction. We stayed that direction the year after. And then from that point forward, it was kind of given the walking papers that you can't go backwards. Fair enough. Fair enough. And then with this particular decision, my understanding will be if you were to choose to go back in days, you're going to give back the extended cash, which right now, and I would say this in front of any group, that's huge for us as far as paying for our facilities, paying for our raises.
It's allocated.
And it is, and it's the effect that we've had is probably the lowest number of vacancies that we've had, with the highest number of highly qualified people that we've had for sure since I've been here. And that's not a testament to anything other than, people like to receive just compensation for the work that they're doing. But as far as the lawsuit came out, and I bet you they're going to cut some days. We proceeded with next year's calendar as though it was this year's calendar, with the 193 days, and that's what we're moving forward to.
So similar early start to the.
You know what? We're going to hit in August. I think it's either August 5th or August 4th. It's whatever that first Monday in August is. And then the interesting part, and we actually did the calendar. Oh gosh, I think it was maybe November. We got voted on and approved. We will have a few days coming back after Memorial Day. That was the one that was voted on by the teachers. So
that's interesting.
Well, and it is
because that's usually the graduation weekend that people wrap their heads around.
Right. Well, and we'll graduate. We will still have we'll have our graduation weekend. Where we got stuck was we were 2 days short. And as a group, overwhelming, and when I say overwhelming, it was like 75-25. People wanted the full week off at Thanksgiving, instead of the 2 days. So that really is what it came down to: was do you want to go Monday, Tuesday of Thanksgiving week, and be done by that Friday, or do you want to come back for 2 more days? And
that makes sense, and it gives old SOBs like me a chance to complain about how kids today have it so easy that they get the whole week off, and we just got the 2 days. That's basically my uphill both ways in the snow. That's all I got.
Well, I'll go a steeper hill. We only got one, or the Thanksgiving and Friday off, and I am a little older than you. But when we first started getting Wednesday off, that was a big deal for us. And it was such a neat thing. And then that's one of my big pet peeves is once you start with something and it becomes the gospel after 24 hours. Well, it's tradition, and you're just like, well, wait a minute, we've only done this one time, but put it out. I kind of laugh. I work all year round, so it didn't bother me, and they had their chance, and it wasn't even close. So that's what we're looking at there. But hats off to the local districts that did participate in that, and being able to get their voices heard. Now, that being said, we are in a 60-day legislative session, and there's not much telling what comes out of that. So
yeah, especially these days, you never know what's going to happen from sunup to sundown.
Well, I've got a lot of really good people that help educators, boards, superintendents. So there's several groups up in Santa Fe right now, and weekly we're getting the updates of this bill or that bill. We're watching, give or take, 25 or 30 that pertain to education. It is, again, it's a long session. I don't envision half of them getting out of that and really growing legs and walking. We're watching. There's a couple. There's a science of reading bill that's pretty important to us because it it just solidifies and strengthens the work we're already doing. There's one on math that kind of just appeared out of nowhere. Still following up on that one. You've got some formula fundings with how they how a student value is calculated. So it's not as simple as each child is worth $1 or each child is worth $2 that they fund.
So now it's by the pound. I mean, if so, I got some good numbers coming back my way.
I want to say something, but I'm not going to say anything because fair. I was told not to. No, it is an interesting thing when you start diving into the business of education, because I think sometimes we make it a little more complicated than it really does need to be. That being said, that bill is moving through. I believe I think there were two versions of that, one in the Senate, one in the House. So we're watching those to see where they come out. Our legislators that are up there fighting for Southeast New Mexico, I know they do a phenomenal job. I watch committee meetings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 o'clock. It's Zoomed. If people are interested in that, I encourage them to reach out or even just get on NewMexicoLegislative.com and find the bills. If you are curious about education bills, give me a holler. I'll forward you the list that we're watching, and you can help watch them too.
There you go. There you go. Eyes on where they need to be. Things are happening in Santa Fe. So
absolutely. Two other quick things. Did approve. I've got an early college high school robotics team that is headed to Belton, Texas in March. And Belton must just be about 505 miles away from Roswell because our new policy is if it's 500 or closer, they don't have to get board approval. So they had to get board approval. I think it's between Dallas and Austin. It's kind of in that triangle down there. But looking forward to that. A student came in and talked a little bit about what they were going to do. Their hope then is qualify and then hopefully get on into the national championships in Houston in April. So we went ahead and approved that. And if they do qualify, then they can have a little bit of fundraising already taken care of before they get there.
Very cool. So, did they build like a full-blown Android unit or?
You know what? That group from early college high school has always done some really cool things. I'm not real sure what they're taking this time. I know last time after they won, they came back into the boardroom and literally took it over with I don't even know what they were doing with some of that stuff. But, that the shift in the last few years is more to like a STEM type. And I say the shift. We've been able to pour a little bit of money into those areas to buy the equipment. I mean, if you think about how much the world has changed, like you had mentioned, even AI a second ago, education's changing, and the needs of what's out there is changing, and we're having to, education is notorious for being a day late and a dollar short.
Right.
And I'm going to say we are a day late and a dollar short when it comes to some of this.
And it's really moving at a breakneck speed at this point. It's difficult to keep up with it, especially when you're working from a position of being on a board and everything has to get approval and everything has to be discussed, and it's real hard to keep the pace with AI and technology that's changing on an almost daily basis.
Oh yes, well, when you have the type of students that we have that will come in and, they're doing these things already. Are they going to do them in school, or is it just going to be something that's only at their house or, at their friend's house or at wherever they're working at? And that's the kind of cool thing. And you're sitting there and you're looking at these kids and they're talking about the different things. And then up comes Mike a little bit later to talk about opportunities here in Roswell. And, your hope would be that you tie and that these openings that we would have, that these are the people that could fulfill these openings. Sure. And the sooner the better.
Yeah, absolutely. So get the brains involved with the brawn, and let's make things happen.
Absolutely. Other than that, we finished up about 7:30 last night. Had a cool opportunity to go over to Roswell High and watch a really well played basketball game. Yeah. Finish that up. I actually had to leave. I couldn't take it. I was just like, this is too stressful.
Yeah.
But Roswell High's got boys beat Hobbs last night.
To the boys, yeah. From what I understand, no contest.
It was a contest.
Okay.
They're a pretty handy lead for a while. Hobbs pulled it back, within 4, give or take, in a couple spots. But great job by them. Roswell girls went over to Hobbs. Hobbs girls team is probably one of the best teams I've seen ever, as far as girl teams go. Might even be the best team I've seen ever. Goddard's got Portales on Friday night. The boys and the girls, that district does it a little different. They do boys and girls on the same night at the same location. So we tax your team pretty good on those nights. That's a full day of basketball. But we're wrapping that up. Like I said, they both have 3 more games coming up. And wrestling, getting ready to go into state tournaments. We got a little powerlifting, a couple meets with powerlifting coming up. And like you said, I think I know Goddard's first varsity baseball game, March 1st, up in Albuquerque. It's a meeting halfway with Farmington. I believe Roswell High's somewhere there pretty close. Southwest Classic, which you guys broadcast usually. The weekend after that, and I'm sure we'll find something else for Gene to broadcast.
Just always moving. Well, Ryan, did we get everything?
That's all I got. That's not enough. I don't know what is.
I think that's everything. Well, very good. We'll let you go and get back to business as usual. We'll chit-chat again next month. But hey, onward and upward, and it sounds like the district is on an upward trajectory.
I like that. Yes, it is.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for your time.
Yes, sir.
5 minutes away from 9 o'clock, let us get you up to date with the local news.
With your Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Sorello. A murder trial getting underway this week for an Artesia man, Nathan Garrison, accused of killing a man named Tyler Grantham in November of 2021. Grantham was found shot to death at a home in the 100 block of East Cottonwood Street in Artesia. Witnesses at the scene told police they were living with Grantham and that they had all gone to a drug rehab meeting that day at a church. But at some point, an argument broke out regarding stolen money. Garrison is accused of firing a shotgun blast through the back door of the home, killing Grantham. Southeast New Mexico health authorities are on alert after a measles case was confirmed in West Texas along the New Mexico border. Gaines County Health Department says there are 2 other possible cases that have yet to be confirmed. New Mexico health officials are urging residents here to check their immunization records to be sure they're current, especially for their children. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
All across America, this is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report.
I'm James Flippin. U.S. stocks finished mixed yesterday. After opening lower, the market does remain skittish over how President Trump's plans for tariffs could adversely affect the U.S. economy and impact a potential trade war. Inflation, still a point of concern for investors. Yesterday, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell testified before lawmakers. He'll be back on Capitol Hill today. In his opening statement, Powell said the Fed is committed to bringing down inflation, but he signaled policymakers are not rushing to lower interest rates. President Trump was critical of the Fed last month and blamed Powell for not doing enough to stop inflation. In economic data, the NFIB Small Business Optimism Index came in 2.3% lower in January, failing to meet economists' expectations. Today, look for more inflation data with the January Consumer Price Index due. In company-specific news, it's the end of the line for thousands of Meta employees. The Facebook and Instagram parent company handed out pink slips on Monday in an effort to eliminate about 5% of the company's workforce. Approximately 3,600 employees expected to be let go. With business, I'm James Flippin.
This is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report.
Janine Pirro here with an urgent warning. Inflation is killing the dollar, and Washington is coming for your savings to pay for their spending mistakes. That's why thousands of Americans are shielding their savings with gold. For a free gold guide that explains everything you need to know, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Pirro or call 800-965-8004. That's 800-965-8004 for your free gold guide and learn if you qualify for up to $7,500 in free silver now.
Are you ready to succeed? The School of Arts and Sciences at ENMU Roswell covers a broad curriculum. The certificates and degrees offered within these programs will prepare students to realize personal, professional, and occupational objectives, from ag science and agricultural technology to behavioral science, biology, bookkeeping and accounting, business administration, criminal justice, education, and mathematics. ENMU Roswell can set you up for success. Register now on campus or online at roswell.enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Success starts here.
Space, the final frontier.
Hi, Captain. You can choose your space at Main Trailer Sales.
Fascinating. Don't cling on to that old camper. The logical choice. New Durangos, Montanas, Cougars, and Passports from Main Trailer Sales. They allow space and comfort. Boldly explore like never before.
Beam on board to that perfect camper.
Don't go camping without us. Live long and explore.
Main Trailer Sales. Don't go camping without us.
Your fingernails grow faster on your dominant hand. Not sure which is your dominant hand? Just wait. You'll nail it. Here's Mike Winters.
Closing in on 9 o'clock. Stay tuned. Next hour, we'll have the folks from the Roswell Refuge, and we'll be doing a drawing. That's on the other side of these on A Morning Without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Your home for Sean Hannity in Roswell. 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
I'm Rich Thomason. The Senate is gearing up for a confirmation vote on President Trump's nominee for National Intelligence Director. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman, Republican Chuck Grassley, says Tulsi Gabbard is well qualified.
Gabbard's job will be simply to make sure that the intelligence community is able to provide the best, unbiased information to help President Trump make the proper decision.
The confirmation vote was originally planned for yesterday, but a snowstorm upended the schedule. The vote had to be moved to today. President Trump is vowing to abide by any court rulings that might block his administration's actions.
After just 3 weeks in office, the president is facing a long list of legal challenges to his executive orders. He's unhappy that federal judges have temporarily blocked his agenda, but says he will follow judicial decisions.
Well, I always abide by the courts, and then I'll have to appeal it. But then what he's done is he slowed down the momentum.
Last weekend, however, Vice President Vance claimed that judges aren't allowed to control the president's legitimate power. Greg Clugston, Washington.
When it comes to the work of DOGE, a panel charged by the president with streamlining government and ending wasteful spending, panel chair Elon Musk says there's nothing draconian about it. He says it's simply a matter of common sense. Pennsylvania teacher Mark Fogel is back home, freed from a Russian prison under a deal negotiated by President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff. Fogel was arrested in 2021 for possessing a small amount of medical marijuana. The president says another American is due for release today. The January inflation report came in hotter than expected. That sent Wall Street lower. The Dow is down 267 points, while the Nasdaq is off 58 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals, too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Bible.
China is condemning the U.S. for sending 2 naval vessels through the Taiwan Strait.
For many years, U.S. Navy ships have frequently sailed through the Taiwan Strait, the waterway that separates Taiwan from China. These missions reinforce the idea that those two sides are separate entities, even though China believes Taiwan to be part of its own territory. This first operation through the strait by U.S. warships under President Trump suggests that this is one U.S. foreign policy that is not changing. at least not yet. China, predictably, reacted angrily to the transit.
The BBC's Michael Bristow. Indian Prime Minister Modi is kicking off a visit to Washington. He's eager to avoid tariffs that have been slapped on others and threats of further taxes on imports. India, a key strategic partner of the U.S., has, so far at least, been spared any new tariffs. News and analysis, townhall.com. Big losses from the Southern California wildfires spell red ink for a state insurance fund.
California's plan that provides insurance to homeowners who cannot get private insurance needs $1 billion more to pay out claims related to the Los Angeles wildfires. The FAIR plan is an insurance pool that all major private insurers pay into. The plan then issues policies to people who cannot get private insurance because their properties are deemed to be too risky to insure. California's state insurance department says it's the first time that the FAIR plan has sought approval for additional money in more than 30 years. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Heavy snow and freezing rain caused hundreds of crashes in Virginia, left tens of thousands of residents in the dark as the central Appalachians and parts of the mid-Atlantic states brace now for heavy rains. National Weather Service says 14 inches of snow fell over a 24-hour period in Iron Gate, Virginia, as of last night. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome. Ooh, we're going to do it this time. Okay. Welcome to hour number 3. Of a morning without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Wednesday, happy halfway day. Welcome to the middle of the work and or school week. Short school week, as we just mentioned with Superintendent Brian Luck. Parent-teacher conference is happening later this week into the Thursday into Friday, and no school on Friday. Also, thanks to President's Day and a interpersonal learning day, I believe is the words he said. No school on Monday as well. So something to bear in mind as we head into the back half of what's been a very busy week. As mentioned earlier, Mixmaster Mike Winters off doing his eye exam thing in the Lubbock region. So I'm filling in. You got second banana on this Wednesday. And don't worry, though, Mixmaster Mike Winters will be back to rightfully take his place, his mantle, if you will, here in the captain's chair in front of the operations command center tomorrow morning, back where he belongs. But in the meantime, you got me, you got leftovers, you got McDonald's at home. That probably isn't the greatest way to build my self-esteem, but hey, this is where we find ourselves. I got to mention real quick, I've kind of been going down this weird rabbit hole for the last couple of days, and it kind of started in an earnest place. So I've been doing a lot of, I try to keep up with the news, try to keep up with everything that's been happening. And the idea of, the Canada becoming the 51st state and the ways in which one might go about doing that, it sort of, has kind of sparked in my brain, like, what could a scenario like that look like? And of course, the internet is always there for all of our questions, and YouTube has been around for, for at least about 20 years now, I think, which is really depressing. But they've been around long enough that every question has been answered on YouTube and probably in video format. So what I found was an alternate scenario. It's an alternate reality scenario. Basically, it's a channel called YP. The guy builds alternate scenarios. You can hear a story and, it can be told to you like a novel and from beginning to end, and all that. But there's also a way to tell a story where you get immersed into it, where basically you're seeing the scenario play out itself. It's an alternate reality. And this particular alternate reality was basically how the United States of America would annex Canada and make it our 51st state. And it is fascinating because they made sure to put a lot of warnings beforehand. This is an act of fiction. This is nothing real about this. But after those disclaimers, everything feels so real. They intersperse in real news reports with things that have already happened, maybe like a situation that is similar to something that happened several years ago. They'll take news footage from that, and then they cut it off, and they'll hit you with an EAS warning, the emergency alert system for those who aren't in the know. And that's a very distinct sound here in these United States. You know exactly what I'm talking about, that sound. But here's the fascinating part. What you don't realize until you really sit down and think about it, every single country around the world has a different system. Like we have EAS, they have a different alert system in, say, Germany or in Japan, in China, Australia. And each one of those has its own unique sound. Like they're all very off-putting. The EAS sound is meant to, number one, grab your attention, but also prepare you for emergency information that is to follow. Basically, get your attention and keep it as best as possible. But some of these sounds are so off-putting. Like just the emergency alert sounds, and I wish I had examples of these, but the emergency alert sounds in different countries, it's so off-putting that I had to literally turn it down because I couldn't stand listening to it. Some of them sound like screaming or crying. It's very odd. But so I started with this scenario with the United States annexing Canada, but I've been down this rabbit hole for days now of just different scenarios. And granted, it's not been doing great things for my dreams, but yesterday I watched a alternate reality scenario in which, and I don't know what cosmic or cataclysmic event would have to happen for this to happen, but in this alternate scenario, the moon is on a collision course with Earth. Apparently, the moon is set to, in this scenario, and again, I'm saying this is a scenario, so people don't freak out that they tune into the news, and hear what I'm saying, but in this scenario, the moon is on a collision course to hit just south of South Carolina, which would be a seismic event, obviously, on cataclysmic proportions. It would basically wipe out the entire Earth. But it's essentially 10 minutes of, this is your last 10 minutes on Earth. Find your family and friends, spend time with them, whatever makes you comfortable. It's very off-putting to hear a warning from a government telling you to make peace with whatever God you know. And but yeah, it's really an interesting watch. So if you're ever bored sitting around on, say, a random Wednesday and you have YouTube open, just look up alternate reality scenarios, and you can probably find one that kind of fits into all kinds of different situations. Hey, if you want to alter your scenario, well, there's a career fair coming up. That's right. Roswell High School is going to be holding a career fair on the 26th of this month from 8:30 to 11:30. And if you're interested in attending, they're asking you to complete the RSVP form there. Just go to Facebook, search for Roswell High. They'll have the career fair there. You can click on the registration link, and you can fill out that RSVP. It's going to be happening inside the big gym at Roswell High, and this is a great chance for local vendors, local employers to connect with students and help them explore career options. Now, they are limited on space this year, so if you haven't reserved your spot, you need to do that. There's only 50 tables available, and they're taking it basically on a first-come, first-served basis. So if you are looking to reserve your spot, head over to Facebook, search for Roswell High School, click on the career fair link, and they'll have all the info that you need to know on setting up for the career fair and being a vendor at said fair. So that's going to be happening February 26th. February 26th from 8:30 to 11:30 at the big gym there at Roswell High School. 14 minutes after 9 o'clock. Have we seen our guest yet? Okay, great. Fantastic. Great. 14 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let us get you up to date with the weather. And then coming up here in just a few minutes, we'll have representatives from the Roswell Refuge. We're going to be doing a drawing today. We're going to be giving away some good stuff. So stay tuned because it might be you. We'll get into that coming up here in just a few minutes. But right now, let us get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Gusty wind today. We have cold front moving through the area. That'll keep us in the upper 50s to about 60 on the afternoon high. We will have sunshine with a few clouds, but the wind will be gusty up to 35 or 40 miles an hour. Overnight, the wind will calm down, clear skies, and upper 20s to low 30s. And then we're in the mid 50s for the afternoon high on Thursday. Should be sunny. Friday looks fair and warmer. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, I did not refresh my information here. Give me just a moment to get things refreshed. Currently looking at 41 degrees around Roswell Way. Humidity is at 86% with a dew point. There it is, right there. With a dew point of 29.77% and a barometer of 29.77 inches and a dew point of 36 degrees. There we go, if I could read. Looking for partly sunny skies, a high of around 60 degrees today. Winds out of the west, 5 to 15 miles an hour. For tonight, partly cloudy, dropping down to 26 degrees. Winds out of the west, 10 to 15 miles an hour, becoming northeast later in the evening. For your Thursday, partly sunny skies, looking at a high of around 51 degrees. Winds light and variable, becoming south 10 to 15 miles an hour in the morning. For your Thursday night, partly cloudy, 32 for the overnight low. Winds out of the south 10 to 15. And for Friday, partly sunny, a high of around 72 degrees, winds out of the south 10 to 20 miles an hour. Friday night, partly cloudy, 41 for the overnight low. And then back at it for the weekend, almost spring-like conditions, mostly sunny and 65 for your Saturday, 54 for your Sunday, and 71 degrees for your President's Day. 16 minutes after 9 o'clock. How you doing this morning? Give me a couple minutes. We're going to play a quick commercial break, pay some bills, and then we'll chat with the Roswell Refuge on the other side of a morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Attention Roswell, the all-new Roswell Ford is back and open for business for service, parts, and sales at our dealership at 821 North Main Street. Our goal for 2025 is to make buying a new Ford and quality pre-owned vehicle super fun, super fast, and super easy. In fact, we'll give you the price we give to a friend or family member right up front. Bring us any trade in any condition. Don't even wash it. At Roswell Ford, all trades are welcome. Making payments on your current vehicle and want out early? We can help. We'll take your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. Roswell Ford has partnered with even more aggressive lenders, all with great rates and terms for good credit, no credit, and even bad credit, with rates as low as 0% APR. Plus, we have a great selection of low-mileage, one-owner pre-owned vehicles in prime condition, starting at just $10,000. Huge savings, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell, or online at roswellford.com. 0 APR for 48 months is $20.83 per thousand finance, plus tax, title, and license with approved credit.
In a medical emergency, every second counts. Artesia General Hospital's emergency department is open 24/7, staffed with highly trained professionals ready to provide life-saving care when you need it most. Don't wait. When minutes matter, trust Artesia General Hospital. Quality emergency care close to home. Learn more at artesiageneral.com.
So you've got questions about the birds and the bees? What would Jim Gill do?
Hi, this is Ben Manette with Roswell Seed Company. If Jim was here, he'd tell you that it's time to order your bees. You'll get a 3-pound box of live bees and a queen, and that's enough to start a hive. As for the birds, we're talking about baby chicks. Not only are they cute as can be, they'll soon be supplying your family with fresh eggs. So come see us at Roswell Seed and find out all about the birds and the bees.
Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward & Son Insurance Agency. Auto and home, life personal and commercial. Bonds too, since 1925, we have the coverage for you. Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward and Son Insurance Agency.
Have you spent a lot of time trying to whiten your teeth with no real success? Here at Carabelli Dental, we have a solution. Get that perfect smile you've always wanted with veneers. Veneer treatment is quick and minimally invasive and will provide you with a confident smile in just a couple easy steps. You deserve to love your smile, so don't let another day pass you by without calling us to start the smile design process.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental at the corner of 9th and Main in Roswell, or call 575-622-4455.
The average American spends 2.5 days a year looking for lost items. We aren't sure how long Europeans and Asians look for lost stuff. We lost the list. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 19 minutes after 9 o'clock. Joining us in studio this morning is Miss Lauren from the Roswell Refuge. How are you doing this morning?
I'm great, sir. How are you?
Oh, doing good, doing good. It is an interesting time. It's kind of the calm after the storm. January was the longest year of my life.
Oh, my goodness. 363 days of January.
Exactly.
Good night.
And now we're already almost done with February.
Yes.
So.
How did that happen? Just in a blink of an eye.
Because
it's almost Valentine's.
Time is such a fickle construct.
Right?
It absolutely
Time
is.
doesn't like February, I guess.
It does not. It certainly does not. I was trying to get the hard stuff out of the way.
Right.
So how have things been with the Roswell Refuge?
We are there. We are serving our community and grateful to our community and working towards ending domestic violence.
Absolutely. Things. Are you guys relatively busy, packed out? I mean,
We
packed
have,
house essentially.
Yes, we've been very, very busy. January brought in a lot of individuals that needed some help.
So well, it's good that you guys are there. And now, if folks want to reach out and help out the refuge, either through donation, monetary, or items for the store, what are you guys in need of right now?
Always the family size hygiene products, blankets, sheets, those items, they take them with them.
Sure.
So, if they're leaving to their own home, then they have a set of sheets or blankets, pajamas, things of that nature.
Okay. So just general comfort items, obviously hygiene items, things like that. And if folks want to make a donation, how do they reach out and get a hold of you?
They can call us at 624-3222. That's our admin office number.
Okay.
And we'll be more than happy to get you to the right person.
Very good. Very good.
Or stop by 1215 North Garden.
There you go. And so folks can just stop by and chat with the office. And if they need to make a donation, they can do that in person.
Yeah.
If somebody can't actually drop something off, do you have the ability to pick up?
It depends on the size of the item.
Okay.
We don't have trucks or anything like that, or
so
trailers.
If it's a furniture item, probably not. But
Probably not.
If it's like a set of sheets or maybe some pajamas, you guys can accommodate.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Well, let's get down to the nitty gritty because we're here to make somebody happy and give
We
away
are.
a Valentine's package. It's
We are.
Friday.
It is.
Fellas, if you're going to pull a successful Valentine's out of your keister, you might want to stand up.
I know.
But
Do you want to pull it?
I'll pull it.
Okay.
So let's talk about what we're going to be giving away here.
Okay, so we have a beautiful bouquet donated to us from Behringer's Blossom Shop and Assorted Chocolates, and a $40 gift card from Texas Roadhouse.
Nice.
And a $50 gift card from Antiqua's.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So you got dinner covered for 2 nights.
Right? You could do dinner and dessert. You could, however you want to do it.
Or hit up Texas Roadhouse for dinner and then do $50 worth of, adult beverages at
there
Antigua.
you go, or
Just saying.
dessert.
Or some desserts. Yeah. That's
or spread it out over, however you want to do it.
I'm a blind reach in here into the old can.
Into the abyss.
I'm going to try to be as impartial as I can with my grab. I'm going for the bottom. I know that most people are like, well, go to the top.
Right.
All right. I'm feeling right there. Okay.
All right.
Congratulations to Miko Lamb?
Mike Lamb.
Mike Lamb.
There you go.
Mike
All
Lamb.
right. And we'll reach out to you. You won.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Congratulations to Mike Lamb and Mrs. Lamb, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Or Ms. Lamb. But congratulations.
Awesome.
That is an awesome package. Well,
All right.
Fantastic. So all the money, by the way, all the proceeds from this giveaway goes to benefit the refuge and the great work that you guys do.
It does. And thank you to everyone that donated and also participated because, we couldn't fundraise without you guys. So we appreciate it.
Well, there you go. Congratulations,
Thanks for
Mike.
having me.
And,
good
thanks,
job,
Lauren.
Mike. All right.
Appreciate
Thanks.
having you. Very cool. Very cool. 23 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let's do this. We're going to pause, play some local news, and then we'll be replaying the interview we had with Mr. Keon Agar from Carabelli Dental coming up here in just a few minutes. Right now, let's get you up to date with some local news.
With your Pecos Valley News Update, I'm Jared Cirillo. A murder trial getting underway this week for an Artesia man, Nathan Garrison, accused of killing a man named Tyler Grantham in November of 2021. Grantham was found shot to death at a home in the 100 block of East Cottonwood Street in Artesia. Witnesses at the scene told police they were living with Grantham and that they had all gone to a drug rehab meeting that day at a church. But at some point, an argument broke out regarding stolen money. Garrison is accused of firing a shotgun blast through the back door of the home, killing Grantham. Southeast New Mexico health authorities are on alert after a measles case was confirmed in West Texas along the New Mexico border. Gaines County Health Department says there are 2 other possible cases that have yet to be confirmed. New Mexico health officials are urging residents here to check their immunization records to be sure they're current, especially for their children. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
Waking up on the right side. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
The American people want these illegal immigrants out. The American people want their cities safe and secure. The American people want inflation dealt with. The American people don't want hundreds of billions of dollars being spent on woke, Green New Deal, DEI, transgenderism, LGBTQ, plus programs, in every foreign country on the planet Earth. They don't want any part of it. But this is where they're saying the great constitutional crisis is. I mean, I'm looking at the Democrats this weekend, and I'm like, okay, keep going, don't stop, just keep suing away, just keep doing what you're doing.
From coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
Hey, you exhausted every day? Maybe you have the 3 p.m. crash or struggling with memory issues, having a hard time focusing. You have to stop and pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. I never run out of energy, and I'm fully focused. Strong Cell. It's a revolutionary supplement that has truly changed my life. I use it every single day. It gives you natural energy, helps me stay focused all day long, and just makes me feel better overall. Whether you're a working mom or dad or homeschooling your kids or some of our loyal men and women behind the wheel across the country, try Strong Cell. It'll change your life. Linda uses it as well.
I use it every single day. I have my kids using it, my parents using it, my in-laws using it, my friends using it, and I am telling you, it is immediate. It is one of the only ways you can get NADH on the market, and it works.
Go to HannityStrong.com. Use the promo code Hannity. You get a special 20% off any order. Once again, HannityStrong.com. And Strong Cell believes in their products so much, you get a 60-day no-risk policy. Invest in your health. I did it. It changed my life.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Gusty wind today. We have cold front moving through the area. That'll keep us in the upper 50s to about 60 on the afternoon high. We will have sunshine with a few clouds, but the wind will be gusty up to 35 or 40 miles an hour. Overnight, the wind will calm down, clear skies, and upper 20s to low 30s, and then we're in the mid 50s for the afternoon high on Thursday. It should be sunny. Friday looks fair and warmer. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. 27 minutes after 9 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. And we're going to replay the interview that Mike had with Dr. Keon Agar from Carabelli Dental yesterday morning. Great conversation. So we'll replay that interview right now.
Joining us in studio this morning from... and good morning. It is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning from Carabelli Dental, although wearing a bigger hat this morning.
Different hat.
His dentist hat today. But Dr. Keon Agar back with us.
Yeah. A dentist hat. I have. I actually don't own a dentist hat, but I should. I imagine it's just a giant tooth. Like I imagine like a sombrero or a cowboy hat, but it's like the middle is just a tooth.
Yeah,
like a molar
that.
or something.
Yeah, either that or maybe I don't know. Study Sweeney Todd. Maybe there's
maybe
there's some accoutrement you could do with that.
No, I need to work on my dentist hat. I need to just so I know when I talk to people, they know what I'm doing.
Like I feel like your dentist hat should be like an Inspector Gadget hat, or maybe
just
it's
lots
like a
of different
toothbrush that comes down.
Ideally, one day I'd like it to be have at least like the Homer Simpson hat with the beer cans.
Oh,
and like,
yeah, yeah.
That would be the end goal
Yeah.
is to have that. But yeah.
Hey, maybe we do that. One's got fluoride. One's
a little toothpaste, a little beer. You know, it's all about life's about balance.
It's like
life's all about balance.
Well, that's your work hat. Then you have your home hat.
Yeah.
Filled with different things.
No, it's the same thing. The work hat, the home hat's the same thing. You should, yeah.
But anyway, we'll do this all day if I don't.
This will be a 6-hour show of Mike talking about hats.
But we really do want to, kind of put something on the radar of folks here, and this is, we as consumers, we always think, we want this, and you want the best doctors, you want the best, and everything in the world has a cycle. Everything's, there's perspectives on everything. Yes, we want the best doctors and things. Doctors are saying, I want to live in places that are really great and nice, but also want to feel safe to practice and be able to do.
Right.
And so when someone who spends a lot of money and time and effort to get their profession, their certifications and their training to be a professional, and they choose to practice these skills, they're going to want to do it in a place that's advantageous to them.
Right.
And from as one of these people in the state of New Mexico, you're dealing with some stuff and want to raise the red flag on really when I think some of the things we're talking about here are a part of the reason why we are lacking healthcare professionals here and lacking an ability to bring new healthcare professionals.
When I reach out to you to talk about coming on the show, I have to be honest, it's 100% selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The selfishness of me being here to talk about the healthcare crisis, which that's what it is in New Mexico, is selfish. It's selfish because I'm a father, I am a son, and I'm a husband.
Mm-hmm.
And it's selfish because I want to live here and not die here. I want my parents to be able to live here and get good healthcare. And I want my patients to get good healthcare. That's to me. It's like so.
With
And
the
so
exception
what?
of the patients thing, you're wanting the exact same thing every other person that lives
Absolutely,
here
yeah.
wants,
And so I look around, and it's like, and I think a lot. I look around. So we have this huge healthcare crisis, and people don't realize that. New Mexico is. I'm born and raised here. Okay, I grew up here. I went to public school. I went to UNM. I came back and did my residency at UNM Hospital. I am like,
this is your home.
Born and bred. This is my home. My family is here. All my roots are here. And I look around, and I'm like, I have been watching us go off this healthcare cliff for years. Colleagues of mine have been talking about it. Everybody I know has been talking about it on the medical side, and we've gone off the cliff. I mean, just to be honest, like and it's the red flag I'd like to call out is that I'm watching all these things happen, and they are 100%, in my opinion, related to they stem from our legislator, what's going on in Santa Fe, and sure, in this part of the state, Santa Fe is not always super popular, all that stuff, but regardless, we all live here.
They are the governing body of this state,
right, and so we all live here.
Or laws that come out of that,
right?
Yeah,
when you look at these statistics, that we are either depending on the year, 1 or 2 in the country for malpractice suits per capita. We are number 1 in the country for malpractice payouts. Okay. What am I talking about? We're talking about malpractice when basically doctors are getting sued.
Sure.
Okay. We're number 1 or 2 in the country for doctors being sued year in, year out. We are number 1 in the country in every single year in doctors leaving the state. Okay. We are one of the few states in the country that has a net negative of doctors. Okay. That alone should be a shocking thing. But since in 2021, they changed a bunch of legislative stuff. They made all these different caps. And what caps are is basically how much a doctor can be sued for. Okay.
Gotcha.
They increased those. And since then, you can talk to, I talked to one of the private, family medicine doctors here in town who's a wonderful doctor. She's amazing. I talked to her husband. Her malpractice doubled this year. She has never been sued in her career. But the insurance is just like home insurance. Guaranteed, my office flooded. Guaranteed my insurance is going to double.
Right.
Why? Because of the risk, right? And so insurance companies work like that. They come and say, well, Ruidoso had a fire.
Yeah.
Now there's a fire risk. And guess what? Your insurance is more. And eventually you get to the point.
You get a car accident in your home. Guess what? When in your home life, you get a car accident. Guess what? Your car insurance goes up to fix that.
In Clayton County, the only hospital in Clayton County last year almost shut down because they could not find an insurance company to take them on.
To cover.
Okay. They came down to December 31st. The governor's office had to get involved. The state, insurance people had to get involved just to basically beg some company out of England to cover them because no one would take on their insurance. Okay. Mm-hmm. You can't own a house if you don't have insurance. You unless you can pay for it yourself, but you really can't. And so a hospital can't operate without health insurance, without insurance. Doctors can't insure. So when I look around and I'm watching what's happening, and there's a big report that came out, and I don't expect any listeners to read it, but it's 60 pages and it's actually a very important read. It came from a nonpartisan group that's called Think New Mexico, and I haven't always agreed with everything they said. In fact, I think I disagreed with a lot of stuff they said over the past 10 years.
Sure.
But they came out, and the facts are we're number one in doctors leaving. We're number 1 or 2 in doctors getting sued. We're number 1 in payouts. And our healthcare system is absolutely. And I think what people don't understand is, maybe they do, but you can't deliver a baby in Carlsbad.
I've heard a lot of places are not accepting, aren't delivering babies anymore. That's a thing.
Presbyterian Hospital, which is the largest hospital network in the state, stopped delivering babies because
they have to go to Artesia?
No, Artesia doesn't.
People in Carlsbad
have to go to Roswell. You can't deliver a baby in Artesia.
Wow. What about Hobbs?
I'm not sure about Hobbs. Okay. I think Hobbs, you can either go to Midland. I think they might have an OB there. But, there's OB groups here. But if you live in Artesia, you have to come to Roswell to deliver a baby. You live in Carlsbad, you have to come to Roswell to deliver a baby.
Yeah.
Well, why? Right?
People don't understand. Less in Roswell offering that service, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but that's the trend, right? I mean, the thing is and it's like one of those things that, you barely have enough doctors. But the system doesn't work. What I don't think our legislators understand. And I encourage people to call their legislators, and the legislators down here, I've talked to almost all of them, so far, and they are very supportive of this. They understand this because they live in a rural area, and they understand that, hey, we need doctors, okay?
So some of the more urban representatives
are
a little,
I mean, look, one of the biggest donors to politics in New Mexico, surprise, surprise, is out-of-state trial attorneys. Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
It's just these are facts.
Sure.
Right? They are huge donors. Okay. Why?
Money is the puppet that moves things.
Right. I mean, it's one of those things that I would love to put a billboard up that says that your legislators work for trial attorneys out of state, and your doctors work for you but the thing is, the doctors, they want to be here. The doctors who are here want to be here, but they're leaving. I mean, they're leaving because people, what I don't think people understand is I'm not saying we shouldn't hold doctors accountable for stuff.
Absolutely.
Things happen, of course. That's why there's a balance of checks and balances.
Sure.
But when you sit there and look at it, and it's like
you can't do it at gunpoint either, and
right.
That's almost where we're getting to.
It's even worse than gunpoint because you could do nothing wrong, but there can be a bad outcome. Yeah, I do surgery for a living, and there are things that happen. People get dry socks, they get infections. I mean, and you manage and we take care of them. But if I was if, for example, there was a gallbladder case that happened and something happened, you sign a waiver, hey, this happens. 1 in 200 people have this outcome. Okay. Well, that happened. And the doctor got sued for a lot of money and they lost almost all their retirement. They lost their home in the suit, and they didn't do anything wrong, right? Just
it was that 1 in a million chance, right? Or whatever.
Well, no, it's 1 in 200. But it's a thing that happens, right? Yeah. And normally, and the person didn't die or whatever, but these things happen. So then suddenly,
a tragic thing,
right? It's a tragic thing. It happens. Yeah. It's just like cancer. It's tragic. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you get to sue the living daylights out of
right. And of course, you're upset. People want to be mad at someone.
Now, if they can prove the doctor did a thing that caused that.
Sure.
Then there's their thing. But if it's just, the dice rolled this
right.
time, then
but in New Mexico, so there's an.
And that's where the difference is.
Right. There's there was a kid in Silver City. Yeah. Okay, football player, young guy, was playing football, had a head injury. Mm-hmm. Okay. He ended up dying. He needed a simple procedure that should have been easy for pretty much any surgeon. You don't even need a neurosurgeon. But the kid died when he shouldn't have died. And the reason he died was because none of the doctors in that area wanted to take call because their insurances did not want them taking call. Wow. Okay? Because you end up in a situation where if you take call, you're dealing with things that are not it's not like, if I work in my office, I'm dealing with things that I see but instead you walk into disasters, right? And this kid died, right? Kids should not be dying in New Mexico. I had a patient die waiting to see a specialist in Albuquerque. Okay, it took her 4 months to get in to see heart image to come go to the ER. Okay, and she ended up moving in with her sister in Albuquerque, or moving in with family in Albuquerque, just to be closer to better health care.
Right.
And so
from her perspective,
she went to the ER. She kept going to the ER. You need imaging. You need all this stuff to see what's going on with your heart. You're having shortness of breath. You're having leg pain. We need to see you have a cardiologist. Wait. She waited, and she was 2 months away from seeing her specialist, finally for that appointment, and she died. Jeez. Okay. And just died at home. And when they did her autopsy, it was exactly what everybody thought it was, that she just didn't see a specialist. She couldn't get in to see a specialist. And I personally, I don't want that from my parents.
No.
I don't want that from my patients. I don't want that from my wife or my children.
And at what point does the patient's family have a right to sue the insurance for saying, hey, you guys...
Well, I don't even know it's an insurance, because it's really the state who is Why is it there's more neurosurgeons in Lubbock, Texas than there is in New Mexico?
I just also have a thing that if you're an insurance company and you're things that's what you're supposed to do, then you're supposed to do it. People pay a lot of money to do it. And
like healthcare insurance. I think about healthcare insurance.
It's another debate altogether.
Sure.
But at the same point, I'm also thinking, like, when you get into these situations, like, wait a minute, I pay a lot of money for my healthcare. Your job is to get things like this done.
Right.
Why isn't that happening?
Right.
Too? And so I get your perspective. I think there's 7 perspectives.
No.
It's not. It's one of those things. Kind of where I'm thinking this is the big thing.
Right.
Because from the consumer perspective, your legislators and everything are like, we're here to protect you. We're going to make sure these doctors pay for when they kill your loved ones.
Right.
And all
Absolutely.
That.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, until you realize that it's like, hold on, what are we talking about here?
We're not safer when there's less doctors.
But and when does some of the onus fall on the patient too? Because I know for a fact that every time I've had anything, I've had doctors tell me do this, and this, and if I don't do this and this, and I have a problem with it,
sure,
it's on me. Like I'll tell you right now, I had one of my wisdom teeth, and this was before you, but many moons ago, I had the wisdom teeth, and they said, don't do this, or you're going to get a dry socket. I did, and sure, I did do it, but I didn't do it long enough or whatever, and sure enough, dry socket happened, but do I sue my dentist now because I got a dry socket?
Right.
No, that was my fault.
Right.
And so I feel like we also need to, we as a society, say, hey, stop, because you didn't want to do what the doctor said, doesn't mean you get to sue them.
Right, and so a big part of it is, and you look at it, New Mexico's laws are set up in such a way that pretty much any court case can be taken anywhere. Mm-hmm. Well, why is it that all these malpractice cases are taken up to Albuquerque and Santa Fe? Because the judges and the juries seem to favor more towards the patients, which I'm all about protecting patients. Like, I want to protect
people's court for 100 years, and we all want to see those
right
with the big.
Yay,
this guy got $1 million.
Right, yeah. But you look at it, and it's like, and so I think the onus does fall on people, because they're voting in these. We're voting in these legislators that are quietly taking kickbacks. They're taking, I understand the want to, hold doctors accountable when things go wrong. Absolutely. 100%. I have one of my best friends was wronged by a doctor in Lubbock, and it is a travesty what happened there, and that doctor should have been held accountable, and I don't think he was held accountable to that extent.
Sure.
But also, if you have a system where all the doctors are leaving, you are not safer and not getting, you're saying, hey, the owner should be on me, but I think I think as the state that has the third highest tax revenue per capita in the country, the people here deserve better health care.
Absolutely.
And
can I ask you a question, just from your perspective?
Sure.
As a healthcare professional, is there a state or is there a region that's doing it right that you say we should model our healthcare?
Yeah, I mean,
after?
Texas, Colorado, they have healthy healthcare systems. Arizona has a really good.
What some of the big I'm guessing the devil's in the details. Like what are they doing right that we're doing wrong?
So you look at our neighboring states.
Yeah,
they all have you look at Texas. Mm-hmm. They have Lubbock, El Paso are phenomenal healthcare systems.
Right,
they're literally across our border, and yet they have phenomenal healthcare systems. Right. that are not struggling. They're not understaffed. They have all the specialists they need.
Sure.
They are doing great. I mean, you go further in.
All of us go there to get
right. Everybody goes there to get health care,
Yeah.
right? I mean, so you look around and it's like, you go to Houston, massive medical center. They got MD Anderson. They got, all this stuff. You go to Phoenix, they got Mayo. They got MD. They got all this stuff, right? You go to Colorado, they have, UC system is massive, and it's all over the state. The number one respiratory hospital in the country is in Denver, is National Jewish. I mean, they have these like massive specialty hospitals. And why do specialists who want to take on complex cases, why would you come to a state where taking on a complex patient puts your entire life at risk, right? It's just common sense. So again, it's like, look, I'm not advocating I want good doctors here, but you also need good doctors that have backup, right?
Absolutely.
You've
got to support the good doctors so they want to stay here and continue to be doctors.
There was like an 8, possibly longer stretch last year and the end of the year, which apparently is very common, where there was not a single pediatric ICU bed available in New Mexico. Okay. If you're a parent or a grandparent, that should terrify you.
Absolutely.
That if your child gets bronchitis or RSV, ends up sick and can't breathe very well, there's nowhere for them to go, right? I want better health care for my children. It makes me terrified to sit there and look at this. I'm like, it's crumbling. We have, to be honest, Mexico's not the healthiest state in the country, for sure. We need better health care than our neighbors, because of our health, because of the health of our population. But I look around and I'm, dentists don't even have a cap in New Mexico. They have a cap in every state around us, right? A cap means how much you can be sued for.
Sure.
Well, what I'm seeing is all the specialists who do surgery are leaving the state and they're not returning. Okay. And why would you? Why would you come set up shop here?
It's kind of like walking on a tightrope and to practice medicine in the state of New Mexico to compare to other states.
They're leaving. I'm not talking end of career guys leaving.
Right.
I mean, middle of their career. And people who have raised their families here.
Sure.
I mean, you also have New Mexico, and not to be super down in Mexico, but I love it here.
Yeah.
My family's here, but we have a crime problem. We have an education problem. So it's multifaceted, but at the same time, I'm sitting there looking at it,
It's
I'm like,
kind of one of those things is say all other things were perfect. Maybe they're thinking, all right, well, I'll hang out. But they're saying, look, I don't get the support I got as the thing. And by the way, the amenities aren't exactly what I want here. Why am I staying here?
Right. Or why would I come here?
Or why would I come here to begin with? Yeah,
right.
exactly.
A friend of mine who's not a physician, he had a death in his family. There was honestly just a healthcare system. He died. His uncle died in Albuquerque, and it was a situation where he shouldn't have died. Okay, it was just the hospital was overwhelmed. It was a preventable thing. Okay, the guy literally, they just didn't know what to do with him, so they put him on a ventilator. It was all during. It wasn't even because of COVID. It was because of he had a heart attack. But then the hospital was like, we don't have a specialist that does this stuff, so we're just gonna keep him on a ventilator for months and or weeks or whatever, much longer. They finally got him in. They finally got him a bed after weeks in a specialist, at Loveless Heart Hospital. Heart Hospital was like, why is this guy on a ventilator? He shouldn't even be on a ventilator. And they were we're asking them, well, we just didn't know how to manage it. So that's the best we could do. We were keeping him alive until we can get him to a specialist.
Sure.
So ended up having damage to his vocal cords, couldn't swallow, ended up choking his own spit and died. Wow. I mean, but this should not have happened. And when I talked to him, he was like, this colleague of mine, this friend of mine, not a colleague, but he's a friend of mine. I grew up with him, and he's sitting there saying, he's like, I look around, and he's like, not only do we have this legal system that is, our legislators have been privy to, our court systems have been privy to, and our juries have been privy to.
Sure.
We have this legal system that really deters doctors from being here. But even if that wasn't bad, we're still top of crime, bottom of education, all these other things. He's like, we should be going after these doctors even hard, with more incentives than any of our neighbors. We shouldn't even be in the discussion of being less than our neighbors in these things. We should be more than our neighbors to actually attract them to come in here because we need them.
Let me ask you this: because at the end of the day, you're a small business. You're a small business owner in Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah.
What are the our bigger entities, our Lovelaces, our Easterns, our Presbyterians, our all these national companies in some cases, are they are they? I gotta imagine they're trying to work the legislature. They're
Oh,
I don't know
sure,
if they've got
absolutely.
lobbyists or whomever in there, but
Sure.
like, what are they doing? Because obviously you's the guy who hangs your shingle in Roswell, New Mexico, or your guy. You and Sarah just kind of doing your thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the
we
day,
just take care of our community the best we
at the
can.
end of the
Yeah.
day, you don't have the juice to
Sure,
make a difference
sure.
in those circles. These entities do.
Right.
What do you know what's being done about this kind of stuff?
So I wish I could say I don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have for example, Warren Yell is the CEO of the hospital here at Eastern, and he's a really good guy. Warren has been canvassing. He's been talking to legislators. He's been doing everything he can.
Sure.
But he's doing it on his own, and his reason is like he's looking around. He's saying, I'm struggling to get my doctors insured who haven't even been sued before. Right. They're getting dropped from the insurances because the caps keep raising so high, and they're getting to the risk keeps increasing to the word. He's like, I'm spending all my time trying to get insurance to these people. But one of the problems is, and I agree with this. I discussed this with a trial attorney on a different show, and they were like, well, all these hospitals are being bought by private equity companies. And they're right. Absolutely. Yes, they are. Loveless, et cetera. Even Presbyterian is now being bought. Okay. Or possibly going to be bought by an outside company. Well, why? Well, the reason is because just it's being harder and harder to run a hospital here. Okay. And, so they get short sold. I mean, if you're doing really well,
sure,
and you're just, it's a really good system, and you have a really great brand, and you're just every year after year you're doing really well, and you're doing everything you're supposed to do. You're not getting sold on pennies on the dollar to some private equity company that's coming in to just venture capitalists to buy them because you need to be bailed out.
And I also know too, just kind of having conversations with county commissioners and city councilors and things like that over the years, in not just in Roswell but in other areas too. When it comes to how the state funds hospitals and things, because obviously hospital does a lot of work that for the government, basically, indigent funds, when you can't, you can't walk into an ER and they can't deny you health care,
right?
Because the government pays them not to deny you health care.
Right,
But I also know this state has given a lot of hospitals the runaround, and counties and municipalities the runaround,
which is
on
crazy.
How indigent fund gets in there, which is another layer of why am I going to set up shop here if I'm not even going to get my indigent fund stuff?
Well, then you look at it and you're like, half the state's on Medicaid, right? Almost half the state's on Medicaid, which, you look at the Medicaid fees in Colorado, they're multiples of here.
Right.
It's just like, so, and again, there's another layer to the problems here. And the fact that they haven't, they're talking about possibly increasing them this year, but it's like, they don't even, if you're a federal employee, my dad was a federal employee, year in, year out, you get whatever inflation is, you get that as, automatic raise year in, year out. Well, why aren't healthcare systems doing that? Why isn't the state paying, why is it that, for Medicaid, the state hasn't increased 20 some years their fees for Medicaid dental, for example? They haven't increased them. Well, there's been a lot of inflation in the last 20 years, and so, and then the legislature sits there and like they celebrate that so many people are on Medicaid, and I look around and I'm like, well, who's taking it?
Right.
It doesn't matter how many people you sign up. You're looking at the wrong number. So anyways,
but that's government mindset,
right,
general.
right. But I think it's just one of those things. Yeah.
Okay, but doing what? I don't know. But we got people.
What the only thing I know how to do is call legislators, call people in Santa Fe.
Sure.
Anybody can call them.
Sure.
People don't realize, like, you voted them in. They work for you, and when you call their office, they need to talk to you.
I would also offer this out too. If you do have a decent relationship with your doctors and
talk to them,
ask their opinion when you're next time you're getting your checkup or whatever. Say, hey, I was listening on the radio. How does that impact you? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Hear what they have to say, because I'm going to take a stab especially if you had your doctor, you're going to trust their opinion and stuff. Kind of like Keon's my dude for my teeth. When he says stuff, I tend to believe him.
No, but I have a lot of physicians who are patients of ours.
Sure.
And I talk to them, and like I said, we have a lot of doctors in our office who are come see us for dentistry and stuff. And so I talk to them about what's going on, and they're all just like one of the saddest things is a very close friend of mine who's an OB/GYN who's probably delivered a third of the babies in the last 20, 30 years in this area. I mean, no kidding. I mean, this guy's amazing.
Kind of one of those ones like,
he delivered my children.
Sister.
Yeah. I mean, he has. And
goes into a restaurant. that one, no, not that one, but that one, yeah.
Yeah, but when he's walking around, someone who loves this area, has dedicated his whole career to this place, says, if I graduated today, there's no way I would come here. Yeah. That's sad.
That's a horrible statement.
That's not, that's, it's like, and to say that, like, I can't, I dream of getting out of here.
Yeah.
Because, so that's not what you want from guys who have been the community backbone for delivering babies for 30 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that, when I just look around, I think people don't know. And that's why I wanted to come on here and talk about it. There's obviously a lot of different opinions. One of the opinions I keep hearing from the attorneys is, oh, well, it must be the insurance companies, like the malpractice insurance. We need to hold them accountable. But then when it came around to it, after a while, they're like, well, if we start lowering how much lawyers can make, then they're losing out on money. And it's like, okay, so really all it comes down to is, it's like, do you want a state that is good for lawyers, or good for patients?
Well, and I think in the big picture, just talking generally, like you said here, I think at the end of the day, and this is not just a New Mexico problem. This is a country problem.
Sure. Yeah.
I think we have too many entities making decisions on healthcare stuff. At the end of the day, all of this stuff should be between doctor, patient,
Agreed.
What's going on.
Absolutely.
The government should not have a say on anything in that conversation.
No. Insurance
should the insurance company.
No, agreed.
And both of those should just say, what'd the doctor say? The one who's been to school and who's done training and been doing this for 20 years.
Who actually did evaluate you?
Yes. This is the person we should be, and everything that they say should be working towards. Now, I get it. If you get and I understand, not every doctor is a good person.
Sure.
I get that. I've seen enough LA plastic surgeon stuff going on. They can be bought and sold. But I also think, if you set the table right, they won't have a desire to be bought and sold.
Right.
That's what I mean. They can do the healthcare. And I'm not trying to, I'm just saying maybe we need to take a look at the whole big picture.
No, absolutely.
When it
100%.
comes to healthcare, I get it should be something we all get easily, and it should be something that, we have to, and I understand too that, people live different lifestyles. I don't think you should be punished or not punished based on your lifestyle. Life happens.
Sure.
You eat a lot of food, you're diabetic. I hate to say this, but education for food and stuff.
Or over on the Facebook page, you can catch that interview in its entirety, that interview that Mike Winters had with Dr. Kiana Eggar at Carabelli Dental. Coming up on 4 minutes away from 10 o'clock.
Good morning. It is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning from Carabelli Dental.
Inflation heated up last month. That's the bottom line of the government's latest inflation report card, the Consumer Price Index. Prices rose 3% in January from a year ago. That's up from a 2.9% increase in December. Last month, the cost of groceries, gas, and used cars all rose. Wall Street futures tumbled in the immediate aftermath of the hotter-than-expected inflation report. President Trump is considering an executive order requiring U.S. tariffs on imports to match the levies charged by other countries. Japan's government says it has asked the U.S. to exclude it from a 25% steel and aluminum tariff, a change from duty-free quotas that Tokyo was granted previously. Japan submitted the request today via its American embassy in Washington. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
You there! What are these?
My glasses, Your Highness.
They're incredible. Who made these?
The eyesight in Roswell. Or was it Hobbs? Or maybe Carlsbad.
So well crafted and stylish. So the eyesight thinks they can challenge my throne with their quality eyewear.
Actually, Your Majesty, I got 2 pair and an eye exam. It was so easy. I did it during my lunch break, and they even took my insurance.
Lunch break? Who gave you a lunch break?
Human resources, Your Majesty.
Silence! I'll get you eyesight!
The Eyesight, now accepting new patients 5 and up in Roswell, Hobbs, and Carlsbad.
3 locations?
Clearly the best in sight.
Tired of living with chronic pain?
Soft Wave Therapy from Premier Chiropractic in Roswell is here to help.
I couldn't believe it. My knee pain is practically gone after just a few sessions.
Soft Wave Therapy for Premier Chiropractic uses cutting-edge sound wave technology to target inflammation and stimulate your body's natural healing process. No surgery, no downtime, just real relief.
Now I can finally enjoy life again with no shoulder pain.
Don't let pain hold you back. Discover the power of Soft Wave Therapy today from Premier Chiropractic in Roswell. Call now for your free consultation at 623-2900 or visit healthyroswell.com. Soft Wave Therapy from Premier Chiropractic, 1301 North Richardson in Roswell. Restoring life. What made Roswell Hyundai the #1 used car dealership in southeastern New Mexico for 2023? Great selection, great savings, and great people. Roswell Hyundai has an amazing selection of makes, models, and model years to choose from. If you can't find it, Roswell Hyundai can get it. And Roswell Hyundai will take any trade. The experts at Roswell Hyundai will work with you to get you behind the wheel of your next dream ride. So, what makes Roswell Hyundai the #1 used car dealership in southeastern New Mexico? You do! Come check out the Used Car Supercenter only at Roswell Hyundai, 1909 West 2nd.
The ultimate Wi-Fi experience is now available to you thanks to Smart Home Wi-Fi with Plateau. Get fiber-to-home technology 100 times faster than average household internet speed. Plateau has multiple plans and options to fit your family. With Fast, get true 100 megs per second download and upload speed. With Faster, get true 500 megs of download and upload speeds. And with Fastest, you get 1 gig. Learn more at plateautel.com. Get the speed you need with Plateau. Tried, true, trusted.
The great one, Mark Levin, is now in Roswell on 106.5 KEND Roswell.
That is going to do things from our end on this Wednesday morning. Mike Winter's back in the captain's chair tomorrow morning. Got Town Hall News up next. See you tomorrow.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The U.S. Senate has confirmed the nomination of former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard to be the next Director of National Intelligence. Senator Charles Grassley, chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, spoke before today's vote.
Based on my conversation, I expect Tulsi Gabbard, along with